Guys, this is Embrace the Grace. My co-host Gary V, as usual, every PM. Sorry about that little technical difficulties. But guys, there's a surprise that I didn't tell none of you guys tonight. I am actually doing this show on the JVJ Network. So if you're not familiar with that, JVJ Network is a network that has a collaboration of content creators, and we're on here trying to do our thing as a group. So go ahead and subscribe to the JVJ Network. You'll see a lot of awesome content creators. Of course, I'm Grace with Embrace the Grace. What is my channel about? Well, my channel is where we have the hard conversations, awkward and messy conversations, because they're necessary. And of course, we do it with respect. We do not overtalk anybody, and we try not to be long-winded with our answers. We get short and sweet to the point, and then we keep it moving. And you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, WhatsApp, and of course here on Embrace the Grace. And you guys, if you like what you're hearing, subscribe, share, and definitely like and donate to the channel. Hashtag Embrace the Grace 23. And my co-host, who's been riding with me since day one of 2023, he hasn't missed a beat with me. So Gary, without further ado, thank you for coming to the show tonight. As usual, introduce yourself and tell people where we can find you.
What's up, everyone? This is Gary D. The co-host with Embrace the Grace here. You could find me on Boardwalk Global Media, which I'm president of. We have a number of podcasts. Our main podcast, which comes on Fridays from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. But currently we're on hiatus because we're building a new studio and all that fun stuff. So, but you could find me on Facebook. You could find me on Instagram. You could find me on YouTube, and it's all Boardwalk Global Media. Or you could just Google the Real Discussion.
Thank you so much, Gary, for that. And again, I always have to give you your flowers. Thank you for showing up once again, week in and week out. Smitty, how you doing, sir?
Hey, what's going on?
Can you hear me?
Am I coming through clear? Yeah, am I coming through clear?
Yep, you come. Yes, you are. Smitty,
I had to turn my microphone on.
Coming up.
Yeah, no
Thanks
problem.
for coming up. We got a good topic tonight. So go ahead if you want to introduce people, tell them who you are and where we can find you. I tried to catch you on Instagram today, but I was at work, so I had to lower it.
Nah, it's okay. It's okay. It's your boy Smitty. You can catch me a lot of places on YouTube, but primarily you can catch me on the JVJ network every Friday. If you would like to, you can go over to Smitty's Corner. Just type that in on social media or type it in on YouTube. Either one it'll pull up. Other than that, I digress. My mic is muted. Let's rock out.
So guys, tonight's topic is it's a heavy one, and it's really geared to the ladies. This is for y'all. And I really hope that you replay this as many times as you need to, because I got a lot of good information. And of course, guys, while I was doing my research, I was learning as well. A lot of things was being confirmed. Okay, I do that. Okay, I need to do that more. So are you a man's piece or are you his problem? Exactly. Women just don't get, let me reword my words. Us women, because I have to include myself in that. Guys, I'm not perfect, and I'm going to do a huge disclaimer right now before we get into the nitty-gritty. I am not a licensed therapist, neither is Gary, and neither is Smitty. We are not licensed psychiatrists. All we are is simply people who are experts in life through our experiences, through other people's experiences, and just what we know from each other. And that is the point, is to learn and grow and to become better versions of ourselves. And unfortunately, this topic, women tend to be very dismissive about, and it's so vital. It is, I think, after doing my research today and yesterday, I think for a man, peace for a man is at least 90% of what makes up a man. That's how vital it is for a man to have peace in his life, and for the woman in his life to offer that peace to him. So I did send out a SOS. Hopefully I get more people on the board, due to the fact that, I tend to be, a lot of people want to always shoot the messenger. So I figured if I bring up enough people on the panel to validate what I'm trying to get out there and relay, it'll hold a little bit more water, because apparently, I'm not supposed to be talking about issues like this because I'm not black enough. So, but we still gonna keep it moving. I don't care. But let's see if some of our other men come on the panel. If they do, great. If not, I'm happy with what I got right now, because you two men are men enough to tell us and validate what we have to have here. So with that being said, Gary, give me your thoughts on what does it mean for you to have, what does it mean to you to have peace in a relationship?
Well, I mean, look, let me put it like this. I mean, most men, or at least in my opinion, um, you have your average working man, your hard working man every day. You have your man who is aspiring and working to be a high value man, right? Then you have your high value man. So, three. And all three of those men, they need to have, or the lady that they have should, all they want is peace, right? All they want is peace. Now, with the hardworking man who's just, he's happy being a blue collar man working his everyday job, but he's hardworking and he's content to where he's at. He's a bit more tolerating of maybe of the BS that goes on. He'll tolerate a lot more. The man that's working hard to aspire to level up to be a high value man, he more than likely is not really going to tolerate stuff. He wants a woman that's going to be his peace. The third man, which is the high value man who he's dealing with, he's dealing with major business. He has a lot of different things happening. His mind is always going. He needs a woman and requires a woman that's just be my peace. That's it. Like, he's not going to tolerate anything less, right? So, and I think it's important for people to understand that. So my question to the women out there, like, what type of man do you have, right? Because I think that would say a lot. That would say a lot in terms of what type of man do you have. And those three type of men that I just explained is from not only my point of view, but from what I've seen, what I've experienced. When we're talking about the whole, is she my piece or is she a problem, right? And two and the men that I described, that's 2 and 3, they're not trying to deal with no problems, right? The hardworking everyday man, even though he should be having a lot of peace, he's more tolerant of if she acts up and want to give problems.
Okay. All right, Smitty, your turn. What is your take on peace and a man having peace and getting it from his woman? You're muted.
My bad. You can hear me. Okay. Let me make sure I got this straight. So what does a woman have, and are you asking in my book, what does a woman have to do to provide that man with peace? Or are you asking, what do us as men consider to be peace in a woman?
That's the latter of the question, because that is a question I'm going to ask later in the conversation. But I want to know what peace means to you in a relationship.
Got it. Okay. Let me see briefly. I would say for myself, peace primarily is, when dating a woman, I always make it very clear when she would ask, so like, what do you want? And I say, I want a woman to not disturb my peace. Like, I swear I always say that. That's real big with me. I always talk about it. How does a woman go about that? Don't ever try to come into my home and disrupt my balance. Don't disrupt. See, all I need you to do is just be another piece of my home. I don't mean like a piece of furniture, but add to the value of my home in a sense of, how to do things around the home in which a man does require. And sometimes it may not just be cleaning. I may want you around my home, and I may need you help me with paperwork or something. Whatever it is that you can do in that form of fashion for me at that moment. So to land it, not to be too long on it. My piece personally is a woman who definitely knows how to come in and kind of flow with the program. Don't come in trying to rearrange stuff and start making your own program, because now you're disrupting, because I got everything going just fine. Really, I'm established, and all I want is someone to now share this space with. I don't need you come in trying to change and build nothing. I digress. My mic is muted, so I would say that much for right now. Yeah, we'll get back to it.
Before I introduce Israel, ladies, the way to learn about men is from men. And this is why I have men on my panel. This is why I'm an advocate for men. You need to stop thinking that y'all know men or think what they need and want, and you need to hear it from the horse's mouth. And I'm really hoping that more of my kings come on this panel, because this is the only way we're going to learn. We have to learn from the horse's mouth. So with that being said, Israel, welcome to the show. Thank you so much. We're here, Embrace the Grace on the JVJ Network. How can we find you and tell us who you are? You're muted. Israel, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
My signal went out for a minute. How y'all doing tonight?
Grace, I think you got to ask him again. Yeah, I think you got to ask him what you were saying again.
Okay. Israel, let people know who you are and where we can find you. First, let's introduce you, and then the second thing I need you to do is, what does peace mean to you as a whole? Because trust me, we're going to get into it, but just for you personally, what does peace mean to you?
All right. Well, my name is V. Ben Israel. You can find me anywhere on YouTube or any social media by V. Ben Israel, the People's Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, etc. All those media sites you can find me on. Definitely holler at me. Y'all are hearing me good, right?
You sound crystal clear to me.
Oh, okay. I'm outside. Clear. That's why I didn't know if I was clear or not. So I didn't know. Good.
No, you sound great.
All right. Well, definitely good evening to all of the other panelists, Smitty, Grace, Gary. How y'all doing this evening?
What's up?
We good.
Peace.
We good.
I don't want to confuse peace with system, order, and structure. The SOS, peace is just, everybody has to have that break, from the outside world, the outside influences, just to gather your thoughts, to get yourself together, reset, and not to have somebody interrupt that constantly, especially unnecessarily. That's what I would consider my peace, that reset place, that place of rest. Some of us do high stakes jobs. You're doing sales, you're doing high pressure job, and you're being bombarded all day long. And when you come home, you need a break from that. And of course you want your house in order,
ladies, right?
Because if your house isn't in order, of course you're not going to be peaceful. It's going to be chaotic. When men walk into a chaotic house, that's not a comfortable place for most men. But I don't want to talk about SOS, system, order, and structure. I want to talk about a man's personal peace, because sometimes that just leave him alone. Let him walk away. Let him just have his music or play his game or whatever he does to decompress and relax from the world, the universe. That's what I believe men when they're talking about peace. I mean, that's just my 2 cents.
Okay, fair enough. So let's get into it. Y'all know me, how I do it. Guys, I don't just come up here and talk shit. I give you vital information. I give you statistics. I validate it with the men. But what is peace? What is considered peace of mind? It's described as an inner calm, refers to an internal state of tranquility. When one has mental peace, one feels at ease with themselves. You have self-compassion. You're unruffled by the day-to-day worries. And one is better prepared to deal with whatever life tosses your way. A feeling of being safe and protected. Yes, ladies, men get all this from being at peace. And being at peace is having peace at home. And this is vital to a man's mental health. Men operate on peace because if they're in chaos, and Gary always brings up, and I think this is one of his biggest pet peeves, don't fucking call him at work and start arguing him at work when he's busy trying to do what he's got to do at work. And again, I'm including myself in this. I have been guilty of this, but I'm learning and I'm trying to become a better version of myself. So instead of walking around being so strong and independent and talking about ninjas ain't shit and where all the good men at and what's wrong with these men, when is it going to go down to us women is what's wrong with us? What's wrong with us women? What can we women do better to give peace to our men? Because you know what? Again, guys, if for any first timers, I am an advocate for men. Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm a woman, but we've been talking about what men been doing wrong for years. Now it's time to turn the mirror. So what can, as a woman in the relationship, you do better for your men? And how can you bring peace to that man? And my target audience, if anybody knows me, is the black man. Why? I have a black son. All I've ever dated was black men.
Can I jump in right there?
Since I was in the 7th grade.
I would like to go after Israel when
Absolutely.
Israel's done before we get too far. Go ahead, V.
Okay.
Let me just speak on something you said, and I want women to stop thinking like this. You have to give us something. We're not asking you to give us peace. We just ask you to leave it alone. You don't have to do nothing. Again, as you just read in your definition, it's an inner thing.
Sometimes
it's something we have internally. So we don't want you to.
I guess you're saying doing nothing is just as giving y'all peace, right?
No, we don't want you to do anything. Don't think you have to do something. Just leave us alone sometime. Don't do anything. Because see, when you add that verbiage, do it, it's becoming a control thing.
It's kind of like, real quick to add to Israel's point. I remember when I was young, right? I used to watch my dad cook, and he wanted to teach me.
I hear you.
Oh, can you hear me? Am I coming through?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I was making sure. So it's like when I was young.
Yeah,
and
you're coming through. It's fine.
I think you on delay. It's all good. It's all good. So I remember when I was young, and my father, was teaching me how to cook when I was a kid. And I remember I wanted so bad, so eagerly to help. And I remember I used to try to come and he'll step away. I'll go mix something or add something in. But then what I found out is all of that, what I thought was helping, just like V said, no, he wanted me to just stand there and watch. He told me sometimes the best way for you to help is to not do anything at all. Sometimes. And you just have to have the power of discernment to know when those moments in life are. That's why people have to know how to read the floor. You see, peep cues, you see. So the last part, just to tackle what you were saying, Grace, when you was talking about with the women and that inner peace, how I came to how I came to terms with inner peace. I came to terms with myself. I came to terms with myself. I sat with myself. And I went on ahead and I reflected on myself. I looked at I just thought back on a lot of situations, whether I felt like I was justified or not. The fact is, I look at what is my position? What is my role to play in that? So I'm only saying that to say, I believe that a lot of women nowadays don't have that peace within themselves because they never sit with themselves. And see, when you're always looking outward for your answer, right? It's always outward. The answer, no, it's somebody else's fault. Someone else did this. Exactly. You have to be able at times to hold up that mirror. Exactly. There you go, Grace. So I just wanted to throw that piece
Yeah,
in
I'm
to
gonna
land
chime in.
it.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah, yeah,
chime
yeah.
in. Yeah, I'm gonna
So
chime in.
to
Yeah,
land
I'm
it,
gonna,
Sorry,
how
Gary.
okay. No, finish.
yeah, yeah, I think we on a delay. It's okay. So to land it, how I came to terms with my inner peace was I took time to learn me through me, not through other people, not through social media and what other folks tell you that you're supposed to be and everything else. I sat with myself. I went on ahead and figured out, who am I and what direction in life do I want to go in? And even though I'm not all the way there at my destination, I feel so much more comfortable along this ride on this path, which is not as bumpy, because I at least know myself, so I know which way I want to go. When you don't know yourself, you all over the place. I digress. My
I
mic is
agree.
mute. Take it away, Gary. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
bro.
Grace. I appreciate it.
No, Smitty definitely raised a good point because I mean, I think on last week's show and the week before show, I said basically the same thing about knowing yourself, right? You have to know yourself first. If you don't know yourself, then you know everything after that is going to be is going to be problems. I think that the other thing is that when it comes to peace, I think it kind of varies, or I should say, I believe with different men it varies. However, as I always say, and even Grace, you know, as every week on the show, you know, when you're starting a relationship, you have to effectively communicate, right? Now, you effectively communicate, then you start to understand, or your lady should, well, you both will start to understand each other on what works, what doesn't work, the subtle cues and stuff like that. So none of the BS doesn't happen. And I believe with a lot of relationships, unfortunately, they don't have those kind of conversations. So clearly, you know, you have people that don't know themselves. So that, you know, being that they don't know themselves, then how could they even know their partner? So there's going to be a lot of chaos going on. And it's something ongoing, right? So it's like it's a recipe for disaster when you don't know yourself. And like
You're
I was
absolutely
saying,
right.
and like I was saying earlier, any hardworking man, or any man that is looking to be a high value man, or any man that's at the top there, you know, we want a lady that's going to bring us peace, right? And you know, and I think it was Smitty and Israel said sometimes, depending on the situation, yeah, we just may need you to sit there with us and just be quiet, right? It's not always about saying something, right? But also, you know, in the conversation that you have with your partner, find out what works for them, because what may work for me may not work for Israel, right? What may work for Israel may not work for Smitty. You follow me?
May I add one piece
Absolutely.
in real
Go
Go ahead.
quick,
Go ahead.
real
Go right
briefly?
ahead.
I won't be
Yeah.
long. The reason why, ladies, men value silence at times so much is because that very silence is what we are utilizing to problem solve for what's to come. See, there was something we know or we see or whatever. So when you like, why are you so quiet? Just thinking.
Mhm.
And I need for you to allow me to process these thoughts. Please don't interrupt it, because you're in a talkative mode. You feel like being all interactive and, oh, babe, look, and everything else. You have no idea what I'm processing in my mind. And so then when you turn around and say, where are all the good leaders at? Well, you keep disrupting the process of that man when he's in the mode of leading. I'm thinking right now. Just
And
let me
Smitty,
think.
I
I
gotta
digress. I
piggyback
just wanted
off.
to throw that. Yeah, go
No,
ahead, sis.
absolutely. I gotta piggyback on that because I had to learn that the hard way. And a lot of this that we're talking about, ladies, does take maturity, does take discipline, and does take willingness. I remember when I was in a relationship in college, I would have this horrible habit when he would ask me to leave him alone and go turn around and back and go in the room and still want to talk and still want to talk. And he would be calm, but it would get to a point because I kept bugging him that now we're in DEFCON 4. When I would have, if I could have just left his ass alone, just like Smitty said, men need time to, what's that word I always have a hard time, compartmentalizing
Compartmentalize.
ideas.
Yeah.
Go ahead, say it for me, Karen.
Compartmentalize.
There you go. Men, I have learned that men need this. Men need I remember at one job that I had, we used to have what was called a 24-hour cooling period time. Men need that. I don't know if it's for an hour, 2 hours, but if they specifically are saying to you, there's nothing wrong, leave me alone, then do just that. Do just that. Get out your feelings and go do something else. Go cook a meal. Go do something. Go ahead.
I think also. I think also too. The problem. Well, I shouldn't even call it a problem. The situation that we're sort of dealing with here now is, we have traditional women, right? Which traditional women understand most of this, but then now we got these modern women, and I think these modern women is where shit just gets fucked up because they just got it all completely wrong.
Well, I don't think women have changed. I think the environment has changed. So if you think about our grandmothers and our great grandmothers, they couldn't overload their men. They didn't have access to their men constantly as modern women do. So, I mean, hell, sometimes grandma and grandpa only talked one day a week because they was at work Monday through Friday, and they might have talked on Saturday. They didn't have that constant access to us.
Or a Sunday dinner.
Women need to compartmentalize too. Mm-hmm. And it's not just a man thing, it's just the way humans are wired. And oftentimes women will do something very reactionary and then later on come back a month later like, you know what, you was right. I mean, how many times have we seen that? That's straight facts. But I mean, the Bible even speaks about this. It talks about being idle is a learned behavior that women learn. And I know I was trying to help a girl one time do some taxes. She asked me to help her out, friend of mine. And it would have taken me about an hour to do what we were trying to do. It ended up taking 3 days. All because she couldn't sit still. And I was just watching her. We would sit down for about 10 minutes. She got to pop up and do something. Nobody was calling her. It was just her fidgetiness, her idleness. And even in communication, like Gary just pointed out, communication is important in a relationship. However, 70% of communication is nonverbal. Mm-hmm. See? So, but women think, I got to fill this space with words. And that's why a lot of times you don't get the word.
And let me just, guys, I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Grace. Go ahead.
You're right. And one of my viewers asked me to greet them. So what's up, Flex Chibi? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to press the like button. That's just like hanging your coat up when you walk into the room. They're free. Press like. Thank you for coming. Almond Eyes came in. She said, hey, y'all. Thank you for coming, my dear. I do appreciate it. So, guys, these are very, very good points, but we've only touched the surface of this, okay? So let me just keep going a little bit more. And here it says, relationship building requires skills, many different skills. It requires making decisions not only to gratify you, women, it's not always about you, but to satisfy the other. Remember, you're in a relationship. You're in a relationship with another person. You're in a relationship with your man. It's not, and I even wrote it down here, it's not always about fucking you. Stop with the self-entitlement, self-absorbedness, and selfish ass attitude, because men are sick of it. They really are. And it's come to the point where a man would rather not deal with us at all so he can have his peace. So if it means doing things that will keep peace rather than achieving the goal, then sometimes it means creating the peace in the first place. You know, we're so busy on trying to achieve a goal, but how are you going to achieve a goal in chaos? Maintaining harmony in a relationship will not always allow you to take the straight line between 2 points. Us women have to stop trying to conquer and feel like we always need to be fucking right. The need to be right and win an argument, a situation, or a decision. In too many cases, when dealing with men, especially Black men, us women will have to sacrifice being right in order to enjoy being loved. I'm going to say that again, ladies. Listen. Us women will have to sacrifice being right in order to enjoy being loved. So what would you rather do? Always have one up on your man? Or do you want to enjoy being loved by your man? Think about it, ladies.
Let me chime in here. So listen, and I think that, you know, yeah, women do have this I don't know, this feeling of wanting to always be right. It's not always about being right.
Exactly.
Right? And that's what a lot of women don't understand. It's not always about being right. Because look, you could be right and wind up dead. Now what? Or
now what?
You wind up sick, right? I mean, no, seriously. So it's not. So the idea of always wanting to be right it's not. They have to understand it's not always about being right. It's about dealing with the situation and resolving the situation. It's not a right or wrong thing when you're a couple. It's supposed to be how are we going to resolve this, or let's work to resolve this. But you know, a lot of these women out there, to them they want to be right. It's like, exactly. You know, it's like they you know, it's like putting up scores on the board, right? It's like, and that's not what a relationship is about. A relationship is people are supposed to work together. You're supposed to work together with your partner to resolve whatever issues, so the relationship can be stronger. So it's not a right or wrong thing. It's about let's work together to make the relationship stronger. But a lot of these women, for whatever reason, they feel the need to be right when it's not about that. It's not always about that.
Exactly. And that's why we're here, to let these ladies know that, I mean, wouldn't you okay, so you're right at night, but you wake up in the morning, you still have the same issue. You still haven't come to a resolution. I mean, and being acknowledged as head of household or the man of the house is a very important thing for a man. But it's especially important for a Black man, being that their manhood is constantly and actively being challenged everywhere they go, whether it's by law enforcement, their job, their family members, friends, baby mamas. And I'm going to have to read that again. The Black man is constantly actively being challenged of who is the head of household. Many modern women are so strong and independent and so self-sufficient and so committed to the cause, to the church, to the career, et cetera, that this "I don't need a man" message is going to end y'all asses up without a man. And you're going to buy a dog and die alone. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to end up happening. You don't need a man, but you also ain't going to have a man. So I got
somebody has an echo. Somebody has an echo. Who has some? Grace, you got a window open, baby?
No, I made sure they were all closed. Do I have an echo?
I don't know. Y'all hear that?
Yeah,
I hear it.
There's an echo.
I'll go out and come back in.
Okay, no problem, babe. So,
my advice is always to women where,
go ahead.
I mean, they struggle with verbiage. So I try to word things a different way to make it understandable. I mean, think about it as you're applying for a job. And the job has a help wanted sign, and you go apply for the job, or you respond to the, put the application in, whatever, And when you go to that job, you don't go on that job and tell the boss what you're gonna do. No, they give you wait for instruction. They give you instruction on, here is the role that I need you to play. But I think a lot of times women often they want to tell the boss what to do.
Right.
But you don't do that on the job, so why are you doing that at home? And
especially the first day.
Yeah, damn right. But it's kind of like what Smitty said with his father, and that brought memories of me. I was teaching my kids how to make sauce, spaghetti sauce. Stir this sauce. Don't add the seasoning right now. You got to let it marinate for a little while. You're going to see Smitty laughing because you know what I'm talking about.
I know.
But, you don't start seasoning it right away. You got to let them tomatoes get good and ready, But a lot of times I think they want to do something so
you
bad.
You got to have the heat on low.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It's a process.
No, you're saying it right,
What his father was teaching him, the process.
Yes.
And you can't rush that process.
Exactly.
But I think sometimes they're so eager
All right,
to
gentlemen,
be helpful.
Let me introduce you.
I wanted to chime in when you're done, if it's okay, briefly to what was said before we get too
Israel.
far.
Let
When
me
you're
go
done.
ahead and introduce you.
When you're done. Thank you, Prentice. Go ahead.
Okay, True, you're on mute.
Oh yeah, what's going on,
guys? Thank you for coming to the show. You know that your input is always vital to the Embrace the Grace podcast. Introduce yourself and let people know where we can find you. I got Trigger Mike coming in soon, so that's gonna be a good one too. Because I'm telling you, I called in the big dogs for this one.
Trying to get famous out here, Grace.
This one's
I see you trying to get great. Trying to get famous.
No,
I see you.
It's not trying to get famous. It's just trying to validate what I'm trying to put out there. And I gotta use
Grace, you're doing a great job.
I gotta use
just keep up the good work, baby. You're doing a great job.
I gotta use the old heads that been here for a minute and are telling the same thing, but now it's coming from me. So True, go ahead and tell people who you are and where we can find you.
Yeah, my name is True Table. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, same first name, same last name. Talk about things that are relative to relationships, men's mental health, and I really stand in the gap for speaking for most men's perspective because most men are too afraid to do it themselves. So that's why I'm here. But yeah, just here to add to the panel, to the discussion. So looking forward to the broadcast.
So let me ask you, True, what does peace mean to you? And what role does it play in your romantic relationships?
Peace to me is a controlled environment. It is an environment of stability. It is healthy communication. It is a balance of time, a balance of boundaries. It's a collaborative. But I do believe that peace first starts with the man. I think if a man is not having peace with a woman, he's doing something completely and utterly wrong. A woman can't come into your life and disturb it if it's already structured, in my opinion. So if you're not experiencing peace, then there's something that you're not exemplifying, because women are usually mirror images of the men they're with.
Say that again for the people way in the back.
I said women usually reflect the men that they're with. So if you're not exemplifying peace or you're not experiencing something out of that woman, it's probably something you're doing or not doing.
Right. Which and I think that just goes back to what Smitty and I was saying earlier about a man has to know himself. You have to know yourself first.
Yeah. Can I answer the question? What was the question you asked, real quick,
Go
Grace?
ahead.
No. What was the question again? The last one you asked before my brother down here came on. Oh, about the selfishness with women, right? I believe you were
Mhm.
saying something about. Okay, there we go.
Self-entitlement, selfishness,
Yeah,
self-absorbedness.
there we go. Yeah. I just, before we got too far. What I've seen and noticed in this whole thing is like, all right, so women have lost all sense of patience. I think humans in general have. But overall, see, men, we're still forced in every form of fashion to have patience. Women can go to a club and possibly scoop through the line and get up to the front if they look good enough. We have to wait in line if we're not that dude on a VIP or something, right? So I'm just,
Mhm.
little example. Patience is always with men. So what I've noticed with women is like this: what you give is what you receive. I'm always hearing women talk all this zodiac sign stuff, spirituality, you know what I mean? The universe and everything else. And it's like, do you not realize that the universe was not created overnight? So if you're going to go by these things, then I think patience is something you have to exercise. So I'm saying that to say the whole like selfish part. You want to meet a brother at the finish line. Along the way, while that man is building, you want nothing to do with that, because if a man says, look, this won't take me but about a year or two, your vision is so short, you don't even realize that goes by like that, especially when you're really rolling and working, that goes by. So not to take too long on it, it's like having birth, losing weight, graduating from somewhere. I mean, growing food, anything that is of a true value is going to take some time. I don't care what it is. You're not going to get that overnight. And to the last part to land it, when it comes to the
Mhm.
self-love, it's funny because I've never heard my grandmothers, my aunts, none of them talking about loving on themselves. They always talked about loving the family. But guess what? Grandma, my aunties, my mother, none of them were ever without love, because that love that they give is the love that they gave back. I mean, it is the love that they got back in return. You see? So when they keep talking about loving on me, self-love, that's because you run off everybody possibly that will love you. So you don't have to do everything by yourself, even down to giving yourself compliments and all of that. You will have somebody right there with you who will do those things if you stop running them off. I digress. My mic is muted. Trig, what's going on, big brother?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing this evening?
Respect.
All right. Yeah, I came in unfashionably late. When you just said 8 o'clock, not knowing I'm on Central Time, I was like, let me get. Oh, they already going.
No, that's CP time. Get it right, Trig.
Yeah.
CP, man. CP, not
Central
CT.
Time, Central, not CT.
What's going on, Trigger?
Man, I'm chilling, bro. How y'all doing this evening?
Good.
All right. So, damn, did she drop? Or is she just taking a break?
That's what I'm wondering. I wonder how'd I get up here. Yeah, I don't know.
She was lagging a little bit too, so she might have a little bad connection.
Got you.
Yeah, so I guess
There we go. There we go.
Can you guys hear me now?
Okay.
Yes, we can.
I'm honored that you came here, and I really do appreciate it.
All right,
Because
well-
I've been stuck watching you. I've been trying to watch you while I'm at work. Thank you for coming. And my main question to you right now is how important is peace in a relationship to a man, and what does peace mean to you?
How important you speaking to me? Because you cut out a few times.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so how
Yes.
important?
How important is peace to you in a relationship?
Peace is everything. As a matter of fact, yeah, peace is everything to a man. He either knows it up front because he's been taught and had good examples of a peaceful home or a chaotic home, right? And I believe not only in a marriage, peace is extremely important, because I think we've gotten into a time where women no longer understand or even respect what men have to go through apart from them. The equality narrative, and I say this time and time again, has ruined modern society, because it allows women to think, we're equal in all things. It allows women to think that they go out and suffer the same hardships that we suffer, and it's not the same. Literally, it's not the same. The world has made every comfort and grace for women. It is represented in every statistic you can find. You could do the same crime at the same time on the same day, and I'm going to jail for what, 40% longer? Don't quote me on that, but you see what I'm saying? So men deal
Hell,
with
you
things.
might not even go to jail.
Mhm.
Yeah. So men deal with things on, and here's the part that I really love about my brothers in arms in this world. We actually go through it and don't complain, because our home is
Suffer
supposed to
in
be our
silence.
refuge. Exactly. So it is extremely important for a woman to understand that it is her duty to create that peaceful place for you while you have been out fighting the world. And just to give a little example of what we mean by we need peace, the world can provoke us in so many ways that make us go against our natural instincts to react. And because we live in such a society where people are habitual line steppers, oversteppers, you have to think about how many times certain ethnic groups of men have to show restraint because of blatant disrespect against them. So just imagine if you had to go out and fight the world in that way. People are honking the horns at you, throwing middle fingers at you, throwing the N-word at you. But you got to come home and be that to suffer that own abuse verbally and emotionally in your own home. Right? So peace, when it's created by your woman, you trust in that. You look forward to that. And I think that can keep a man going throughout that abuse that he has to suffer from the world. Because once again, we don't complain. And yes, that can lead to implosion. But we don't really express ourselves exactly the way women do. And I think the women who are graceful enough, aware, to show amount of awareness that they need to create that comfort for their husband, he will trust in that and seek and continually just, get that energy that he needs to keep going, keep getting up, and keep working on behalf of his family each and every day. And what was the second part of your question? It was
How
like, what is?
important? Well, I mean, you were kind of answering how
I
important is
answered it. All right,
you and
great,
your
great.
relationship. It's everything.
It's everything.
It's everything. Let me introduce Grace real quick. Grace, thank you for coming up to the show. Introduce yourself and let me know what is your perspective on the woman's side of the importance of providing peace to a man in a relationship.
I'm Grace. The perspective from a woman's side, like I don't know, you have a man that goes out and he's like Sugar said, he's battling the world. And if he can come home to an atmosphere with a woman there that he's battling that world for, and she brings that calm and that peace that he so desperately needs, that needs to be his one place, the one place he can go that he doesn't have to battle, that he can actually rest. She needs to be his rest. And in that, no matter how bad the world gets, he's able to look at her and go, you know what? That's why I do it. You make it worth it. That's why I do it. And so he can just dust off the day. He can dust off all the crap that he's gotten all day long, and he can just let it go, because he's now in that place of rest with the woman that he's going out and doing those battles for. And I think our biggest issue as women is we were once women, or there were once women who spoke for the marriage, spoke on behalf of the husband. In other words, yes, you can come to me and complain about your relationship, or, something he said that hurt you in some way. And instead of saying, oh, he's not worth it, you need to leave him, there were once women who said, okay, well, let's have understanding in this moment. Let's think about what he's going through in this moment. Let's not be too quick to react. Women who spoke for that relationship instead of against it. And That's a big issue. And then the last thing I want to put out there is meekness. To be meek is power under control. For a man, that's in his strength. When you think of power under control, a man can seriously hurt a woman. And when he chooses to keep his hands to himself, that is power under control. Our power lies on our tongue. We use a lot more words and we use them in more harsh ways. So instead of using your tongue to tear a man down, try lifting him up. That's all I got.
Y'all heard that, right? Y'all heard that. And I do want to iterate this, ladies, because this really, even though my channel is advocating for men, but tonight's show is dedicated to the ladies. Everything that these men talk about, we have to magnify by 1,000 because they're Black men and they go through more than the average man. Not only do they go what they go through, but they go through more because they are Black. And that's the important thing, that my sisters, without disrespect, you know, you say that we put up the bullshit from the Black man. Oh, we're weak, we're pick-me's, we're this. No, we just get it. We understand, we show empathy. And if we can do that, and other women of other races can do that, why can't you do it for your own Black king? Go ahead, Gary. What did you have to say?
There's also something to think. I think, as I was saying earlier, I mean, there's, you know, clearly there's, you know, the traditional woman, and then now we have these modern women, and a lot of these modern women, when it comes to a relationship, it's not real emotion. It's more transactional than it is emotional, right? Because, you know, they want to put a dollar sign, you know, on the type of guy that they're dealing with, like, and that's not gonna, and that doesn't work. That really doesn't work.
No.
That I would say that's the men's fault, though, unfortunately, and we talk about this stuff all the time, but the pivot won't happen until more men become aware of their true power, design, and position in society. Until that changes, until men stop pandering, until men really understand that everything starts and ends with you, it won't change. I was listening to Trigger Mike explain what he was saying, and I was having, like, you know, sometimes I have like visuals that are stacked, and I think that the difference between the modern woman and the traditional woman is that traditional women understood men were a resource. They understood that we were a resource in every facet of it. The society is truly built around men. Even now, it has not changed. If men don't work, nothing happens. If men don't volunteer, nothing happens. If men don't write policies, nothing happens. And the difference is that was definitive. What's happened is that we've allowed for the privilege of contributing to society to be shared amongst the female, you know, demographic, which is fine, without understanding that the resource still is man. It always has been, always will be, won't shift back. Don't care how much we allow the technology to, you know, create this the disillusion. No, that doesn't change. And so men, I think, really, really have to grasp how powerful they are and stop making their value be their dollar, their checkbook, their status. Because whether you ever shoot a jump shot, ever be on TV, every man is truly, individually, a resource. He can expand upon himself. He can control his environment. That's powerful. When you understand that, your environment changes. But my mic is muted.
And true, to piggyback that, I always say when I'm talking to the gentleman, stop standing on the sidelines and take your place at the head of the table. Y'all been silent for too long, and I get why y'all are silent, because y'all fed up, y'all tired, y'all not being heard, y'all not being understood. But in order for things to change, and I hate to say it, the burden is on y'all. It starts with y'all. It goes with y'all, it continues with y'all, and it ends with y'all. But And again, that all starts because we're not raising men. And you're muted, Trigger Mike. I don't know if you're trying to talk.
Well, I wanted to tap in real quick to what the brother. Oh, whenever you're done. Oh, okay, thank you.
And that all has that whole has started with the single mother epidemic, because we don't have the father figure in the house to teach the man how to be a man. Women would rather be a baby mama than a wife. And it's crazy to me that you think that you can raise a young man. Look, my son, school went out. He's already at his dad's house for the summer. And I'm trying to convince him to keep him for his last year, senior year, because I've done all I can as a mom and as a female. Now it's his turn to pick up the baton and finish him off, because he's at a very volatile age where you could go left and you could go right. I get it. But a lot of women think that, like, look, Father's Day is coming up. The one thing I hate the most is they're going to be selling Happy Father's Days to themselves. Really? Where they do that at? But Smitty, what were you going to say to jump on that?
Oh, yeah. No, you somewhat hit it. So to what the brother True was saying, you're definitely on point. The one thing that I was thinking about while you were saying that is, where has that chain of command being broke? One thing that I notice is, me, at least as an 80s baby growing up, I remember it was like, in our neighborhoods, it was like an honor. It was a privilege when, like, the older cats would want to, like, talk to you or hang with you a little bit, or, you know, play ball with you. Like, that was an honor. That was a privilege. And of course, throughout that hanging out with them, whether we throwing the football, playing ball, whatever, of course, they'll school you. So I learned a lot. I learned a whole lot simply from listening to those who came before me. And so what I notice is, nowadays, everything that you're saying, why are these men conducting themselves the way they are? Well, because that chain of command has been broken. You see, that pyramid, you know, they've broken that. So now we got a whole generation of young dudes talking about I ain't trying to hear that OT. I don't want to hear that OG. I ain't nah, I'm good. Don't wrap me up. So we can't even talk to them. So now even though we try to, we can't even talk to the younger ones now. I would say a large part of that has to do with the mothers who automatically got these young brothers thinking so horrible about their father. So if you hear the worst things in the world about your father, what's to make you respect any man out here?
Yeah.
So we got to recognize how that's going. So other than that, I digress. My mic is muted. Go ahead, Trig.
No, I like what we're saying, and really, there's no doubt about it. True Table and Smitty were 100% correct on that, because where the fault lies is that it naturally is on the men. We just have so many men who don't know where to start in fixing the problem because they weren't raised by men. So y'all basically said it. So and when we talk about embracing change, as men, we are 100% acting in our nature to believe that we can fix this issue. This is exactly what we would do if we were all stranded on an island and they told us to fix something. We would collectively be like, well, yes, there is a fix, but we are acting a little bit arrogant to not notice how bad this problem has become. Because when you add government legislation, when you had government assistance, you realize that they have enabled the woman to make decisions and influence the lives of children unilaterally without our influence. We have lost that battle completely. There are entire men who cannot see their son simply because the woman said so. She keeps missing court visits, and every time he tries to go tell the court, he gets a 4-month delay on his court date, right? So till he just stopped trying. So they have unilaterally found a way to impress upon the children, if we're not married to them, and some, even if they are, right, without the father's input. That is completely destroyed the Black ethnic group. Now, as men, we need to stop being arrogant and realize people do not change until they have no choice. So we have to let it get as bad as it can. they have to suffer. These women, like, remember, this is all sin. And even for the people who don't believe and are non-believers, there's going to come a time where you need more than cold logic to sustain you. And when you have sinned this bad, and you have transgressed or whatever, trespassed this bad against not only the man, not only your children, but the word or whatever moral you were supposed to have, when you have, the universe is going to demand something from you. We could call it that. We could call it the universe is going to create a natural consequence from you, right? So enough of these children have to go and terrorize community to the point where these women have no one else to blame, to where they understand that this is 100% my fault based on every single decision I made, and then they have to suffer for it without any help from the government, from men. And I know that makes it sound like, what, you gonna let women suffer? They don't have no help. Remember, they created, it is our fault, but each man's actual responsibility is to be responsible for his own home. So I'm doing that. I know some of y'all doing that. And if you're not with the woman, you're taking care of your kid, you're doing everything you're supposed to do, because that is our responsibility. So by the time, yeah, go ahead.
My bad. No, I wanted to ask you something on that and what you're saying. So with what you're saying, man, like, you really hitting it right now. As far as you got to let it get as bad as it has to get.
He's cooking.
But let me ask you this.
He's cooking.
But let me ask you this: will the casualties of this whole process be worth? Like, will it be worth the benefit, the reward in the end? Like, will that be worth the squeeze? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it will. And will we be able to rebuild after all of these casualties?
Damn, did y'all watch my show today? Because now
I didn't see it.
It's slipping.
I'll go see it. I'll go check it out. I got you.
BBD dropped a bar. Damn it. It's he dropped a bar. But in fact, just give me 1 second. I'm gonna come back. Somebody else.
Okay.
I mean, what y'all doing right now is y'all really touching on Bible prophecy. Like, all of this stuff was prophesized. You know,
are we still here? Am I here?
I am.
You're welcome. Okay. All right. Now I was making sure. My bad.
Yeah, all of this stuff is prophesized. I mean, there's so many scriptures on this. So, I mean, it's gonna happen. I mean, you just asked the interesting question, Smitty. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Yeah, in the end, I mean, because everybody can't be saved. According to the Bible, I mean, 2/3 of people gonna die. I mean, it is what it is.
It is written. That is true. It is written.
They just won't get it, you know. But after that, because it says Esau is the end of this world, but Jacob is the beginning of the one that followeth. So what's gonna happen at the end is gonna be 7 women for every man. That's what's gonna happen, and they gonna be begging the men. That's the prophecy.
You ready, Trader?
I am ready. So on the show today, I asked, and this is a question for everybody, and this is the type of question that now, when society gets as bad as it can get, this is a question people are going to have to answer for. What use does the world have for an unmarried and childless woman? That was the question. Nobody could really answer it. EBD said the use the world has is that these women will be a cautionary tale. These women are a cautionary tale. So you can actually show kids. Remember, all great rules are written in blood. Look what happened to these women. The largest homeless population in the history of America. Their kids went wayward. Their kids went starving and dying on the street. Like, that is how bad things have to get. So when you say, is the juice worth the squeeze, it's going to have to be. Because look at how aggressive and reckless they are in creating the problem in the first place. Their atonement is gonna their suffering is going to be just as bad or worse. So
brother, no, go ahead. My bad.
Saying, like, those words, that he spoke, he was they are 100% going to be a cautionary tale. Remember, history really remembers everything, and when you write this up, no matter how you try to make it sound nice, we're going to say, no, these women died harsh and horrible deaths because of their decisions.
Brother Trick, let me ask you this. Now, what you said, definitely, you just gave me some gems, and I'm going to keep those in my pocket right here. I appreciate you. So the thing is, okay, so I actually agree because I've spoken on that before. We all can't make it. A lot of people thought I was talking harsh, but everything you're saying, I've been right on par with that from the jump to myself. My question is this. Okay, so that all goes, let's say that all comes to fruition, it all goes through. Brother Trigg, what is the first step that the Black community should take in now rebuilding and making sure that that doesn't happen again? Now that that's done, the smoke is clear.
So remember, right now what they are proposing, and it's really bad. It's actually worse than I thought. This is why I'm kind of cooling down on going on some other panels. I won't say any names. There are too many delusional people over there. Right. Naturally, me, I'm married. Shoot, my wife can leave me. I'm still going to advocate for marriage because that's the way children are supposed to be raised. Okay. That's what that institution is for. Now, I went on that panel that I'm talking about, and I basically said, well, as far as the economy is concerned, you need to be married. Your children need to grow up in it. And a bunch of people started saying, no, that doesn't matter. We can build a community without it. So what they're basically doing in modern times and what they're going to keep doing is saying a community is a bunch of individuals. And it's not really. That's what the textbook definition is. A community is actually, in the context that we're discussing, a group of families. All right. So it is very simple to create a community.
Family unit.
All right. So all you have to do with the new Black community is when people keep saying we need unity, that is actually incorrect. We need division. We need tribalism, at least for a time. You need to go find your tribe. Who is like-minded like you? Who is willing to stick it out with their woman and take care of their kids in the same home? What woman is willing to say, I will die before I leave him because I know my children will go without a father? What people are like-minded like you? Find your tribe and isolate everybody else, because one bad apple could spoil the whole bunch.
Hey, Trigg, you dead on point. You're dead on point, because even right now, I have a form of tribalism because I have certain friends I grew up with. I won't let my daughter hang out with their kids because I don't want them to contaminate her. I know they be listening to the twerk stuff. My daughter's 15. She don't listen to none of that. And I mean, she listens to music, but it's more the kind of clean kid bop version type. Yep. She don't do all of that listening to Glorilla and no, I don't need her up while we chilling downstairs. She up there with your kids. Nah. Now she don't do social media, all of that. So definitely. And I don't want it to mix with mine. I don't.
Do you know what the actual? You know what the actual benefit? It's like a hidden benefit that nobody's talking about. The best thing you could do for the Black community is what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. The reason people do not feel a necessity for change is because we keep paying them attention. We keep allowing them to come to our cookout, so they feel like they have the access to be ratchet, but still come to us, where we clean up and doing a good thing. Hold on, let me just land it here. The more you isolate them, literally rejection is what makes people curious, not acceptance. We're trying to accept people's degeneracy, trying to accept their mistakes, which is how this problem got here in the first place. Rejection and literally isolation and watching us focus. When we're focused on creating families, taking care of our families together, we create a natural community of Black people. And when those people realize they can't get in, the people who are actually curious and want those same results, what they gonna do? AOG, I'm just trying to be like you. Tell me how I could be like you. You know what I'm saying? I just tell me what to do. I'll do it. They'll become more curious and more willing to follow our example if we do that. But we keep allowing people who don't qualify to enter.
Are you talking about shaming?
It's not. It's actually not even shaming. What I really mean is tribalism. I mean that don't associate. This is what other ethnic groups do very well. They even if you come from the underclass, the untouchables as they're called in like the Middle Eastern, you ascend to the upper class, and you can bring your mother, of course, you can bring your father, you teach your brother, and you make each and every one of your siblings earn their spot at the top with you. They can't just come. They're gonna mess you up. They're gonna teach that same hood mentality to your children, to their like you see them, they're gonna mess you up. You make them earn it. So when they realize you're not just gonna get here until you start modeling your life the way I modeled it, then you start creating people that literally like, okay, what I gotta do? I want to be there too. He's not just gonna give me. Do you see how the basketball players do it? They just let all their homies from the hood come on the plane wherever they're going. That's the wrong way to do it. The absolute wrong way to do it. So we got to stop doing that.
Yeah, I think we need to double down what you're saying, Trigger. It's crazy you say it the way you said it. You said tribalism. I spoke to this theory that I had years ago that we need a new church. We need a new doctrine.
Yep.
And what I mean by church is I'm not referring to religion, because I know people get all weirded out, and that's a part of the problem, is that we've created so many subsets, evangelists, Episcopalians, and all that crap that really has it's not doctrine. It's not even biblical if you really understand the word. But what I mean by a new church is our community is a hyper-social community. So the only way I see that method working is you have to create that same tribalism through a system distribution. Yep. Church used to be the difference. That's what's really created all this division, because when we had at least some level of religion was our culture in this country. That's what kept people from doing crap. When we threw that out, that's what shifted everything. So we need a new church. We need a new doctrine in order for that to be.
I mean, I've heard Andrew Tate say this, but I 100% agree. It's actually why I took such a huge break from the church, and which is why, unfortunately for me, I have gone back into the church, but it's not a black church. I literally had to hear the pastor say he's indifferent about gay people, and at this point he just doesn't know. Like, I had to hear that to be like, at least he's loyal to the scripture, because the ones where the women are at, the black churches where the women are at, they pander. Those preachers just start letting anything, if their collection plate starts slipping, they'll just desecrate the name of God. Just be like, well, so yeah, you're absolutely right. Not only do we need like a new church, like you said, that's why I guess they said Islam is the last real religion. The last real religion is Islam. I'm still a Christian, yes, but I'm going to be one of those Christians going forward that literally will fight you over scripture. You have to be that way, because that's not really just about Jesus or my beliefs. It's about allowing you to corrupt it, because that corruption, dude, we don't understand is the minute we started disobeying scripture, we allowed exactly what they said would happen. You started allowing homosexuality in the church. Of course they're gonna try to get it into the school. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, of course, you see all that happening in real time. They never expected you to actually do it. So now that you did it, well, they just gave us an inch. Let's see how much more we can get. So I'm now going to be one of those people to say, this is what it says. There is no misinterpretation. You could do whatever you want, but as for me and my house, I'm going to be one of those dudes.
Yeah, but I think you did. Yeah, and I agree. I'm one of those people, and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't, announce myself as being a scholar. I think I'm well versed in the word, but I never really have been able to find where Christianity was the structure to follow. From what I understand, we were all called to be believers, from what I understand. And that's something that I attached 2 years ago. But with that said, I think that's sometimes, again, the issue is that I always said God got a lot of bad representatives, like a ton of bad representatives.
Yeah.
Man, can I tap on that briefly? Yeah, because look, right, the thing that I've noticed that I find to be the most egregious thing when it comes to all of this, brother, exactly what you just said, True. It's all right. So look, this whole thing with like not saying don't let people who live the LGBTQ community come into church, but to let them overtake it, bro. I'm literally seeing like full-fledged gay pastors now, bro, just openly, actually preaching and saying and justifying it's okay, bro, trying to redo. Now, I'm gonna say this from what I know in that book, right at the very end in Revelations, the very end, I believe it's like 1922, something like that. It says, and I, John, attest to the prophecy of this word. Anybody who adds anything to this word, the Lord will add the plagues of the earth upon you. Anybody who takes from this, your name will be taken out of the book of life, meaning you don't get paradise. So point blank, the very last thing it said before it stops. I don't care what anything else says in the middle. The last thing said, don't add nothing, don't take nothing away. It is what it is, right? But I notice now that when they do all of that, what happens? It runs people away from the word. And that's the thing that I find most egregious. So when you say the things like what you saying right now, brother, that's exactly what I be hearing. And that's what I find so heartbreaking, because you got folks who are misrepresenting it. You got folks who are fraudulently doing things amongst the church. And then it has people running off from the church. And I'm going to tell you right now, if it's anything, if you're a believer that God does not like, is an individual who runs people away from God's word, bro. Dead on point. You and Trig. I digress. My mic is muted, man.
Well, the word isn't for everybody.
So, guys, with that being said, oh, go ahead, Israel.
Christ said it himself, my people will hear my word, and also, the people who weren't God's people or Christ's people, they would turn away from it immediately. So it wasn't designed for everybody to begin with. Unfortunately, we mix up the church with a building. The church was never a building. The church was the people.
Agreed.
Good stuff.
And we make it the building today, and unfortunately, that's what religion has done. Religion was given to us. That wasn't the Bible. That's why you got so many religions that have come from the Bible. And most time the religion goes against what the Bible says to do. The Bible will say something very specifically, and the religion will contradict it. Unfortunately. Smitty spoke earlier. He was talking about the tarot cards as quote unquote spirituality. The commandments are spiritual. So anything other than that, the Bible called all of that stuff sorcery and wizardry and familiar spirits is what that was called. And that's a chaotic thing by nature. And that's why a lot of women gravitate to that realm of thing, and the crystals and the cards and things.
The rocks.
Because
it's real.
It's chaotic by nature. Yeah, go ahead, Smitty.
It is real. Do you know how many women I've come across who call themselves Christian Wiccans?
Yeah, it's
not playing, bro. It's some weird stuff out here.
And
they call themselves. They do the sage burning and the little Thanos stones on the dresser, and this rock represents this. The moon's aligned. We shouldn't be together. I'm a Cancer. Usually, all of this crazy stuff. Yep.
But they
call themselves Christian.
They've done it throughout history.
So how do you practice paganism? But look, I'm not gonna get all into that. Grace, go ahead, take it away, baby. You got it. This is your show.
Wow. I'm like, wow. So guys, let me get into, because you guys know that I like to give information and educate my audience. So let me speak to the ladies, because tonight is about them. Being a man's piece. What does it mean to be a man's piece? It means being there for him even when it seems like the whole world is against him. Being a pillar of support, a confident that he can confide to without fear of being judged. Going back to the show that me and Gary did about vulnerability, we have to allow a man to feel safe and allow himself to be vulnerable without the repercussions of shit being thrown back in their face, or regretting that they did get vulnerable with us and talk to us. And then we wonder why, ladies, they go talk to their homies, or they go talk to their work wife, or they go talk to everybody but you, because that's who they're supposed to be talking to, but you're not allowing that man to feel safe. And the importance.
See, I have a problem with the verbiage, Grace, if you don't mind me jumping in. You keep making it seem like the woman is allowing or controlling the scenario.
No, go ahead.
And that's a problem for us. You don't have to do nothing. Just let it be. Let that sauce marinate. But I think the problem is y'all always want to do something or not do, or micromanage something. Just let it be sometime. And the woman is not the support of the man. The woman is the pillar of the household.
Do you communicate that to the woman?
Say what?
Israel,
Say what?
do you communicate to that woman? You know, because we're not mind readers. Do you communicate to the woman? Just leave it alone. Because I personally know, I'm an overthinker.
Yes, but as
And
I
the gentleman
explained to you earlier,
Go ahead.
communication is 70% nonverbal. The Bible also says if a woman is going to learn anything, let her do it at home from her husband and listen and learn in silence. So a man doesn't always have to directly say, do this. Sometimes just from their observation, they'll learn.
Yeah, but Israel.
Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying, brother, and I partially agree. I think that's kind of something I've ran into, over my dating career, is that a lot of men don't understand the importance of educating the woman and also understanding, why is this woman even in a relationship with you? Women need to know why they're there. Women need to be told what you expect. You cannot put them in an environment that is your life and expect that their observation is just going to be absorbed, because unfortunately, brothers, women are not that inquisitive. Unfortunately, their minds are very loopy for the most part, and they drift in realms that we probably will never visit. So if you want the best out that woman, in my opinion, and what I've seen, you can serve her and serve yourself better by laying things down that she can hit markers of, and if I need, baby girl, hey, when I get home, love you, but I need about an hour, whatever, 30 minutes, whatever. It creates chaos to give her, because what you're actually doing, being the leader, is you're giving her authority in her natural state, because you're not guiding her. She's going to be busy. She's going to be messy. She's going to probe. That's women. That's how they're wired. So if a man wants the best out of her, I would encourage him to instruct her, through things.
I'm not suggesting that a man shouldn't instruct her, but the instruction shouldn't be constant. Again, you think about how the older generations of men function. Again, they didn't talk to their wives every single day. They gave them the instructions at the beginning of the week, and they talked to them again at the end of the week. And they stayed together for 50, 60 years.
You're right. You know
what I'm saying?
Can I tap in briefly? Just real briefly. I do get exactly what Israel is saying, honestly, because from my mother even down to the relationship, with my lady, right? She just knows, like, if I say I'm gonna go to my office, she knows that means I'm getting ready to either go study, I'm getting ready to go, create whatever. I might be getting ready to hop on a panel, get on the show, whatever. She knows exactly how I like my closet, how I like the bed made. The fact is that when she came in, she did. I ain't gonna lie, bro. She just observed me. She knows exactly like what type of drink. She knows what flavors Gatorade I like and things of that nature. Like, so my point is, Israel is, he is on to something, bro. Like, because men, think about it. We say all the time, the land, right? Action speaks louder than words. So, you could tell a woman something all day. You know what I mean? Now, of course, you're supposed to lay these things down off rip. The only thing I lay down off rip is just be on my page. I promise you. You stay on my page, I'm going to make sure you always good. Boom. She stays on my page. Staying on my page means just listen. What is listening? Sometimes just follow my lead. I don't always have time to explain to you what I'm about to do and why I'm about to do it. I just need for you to trust my lead. And she does that. And so from there, it works out pretty damn good. So I get it. I get it. What you're saying is real.
Just so let me say this, so I'm not misconstruing, because I do agree with what you're saying, Israel. I think, and I've seen a comment pop across the screen, I think it is extremely important that when we're saying these things, that we can't frame it in a way of just an individual experience. We are all of experience on this panel.
Right.
That is the best case scenario when a woman is untouched and doesn't have a history, meaning she has not dated other people. Women pick up habits. So the assumption that she's just gonna be great and observe a lot is fair if you're talking about a woman who was in an environment of a structured family and things of that nature. That's not the case with most women nowadays. By the time you meet her, she done had 3, 4, 5 boyfriends and so on and so forth. So you're always gonna, I get what you're saying. I totally agree with you that she has to observe. And I definitely also agree that men of old didn't speak that much. But I think what we're missing is that men of old didn't speak that much because there was an insulation. What women were telling the girls were what men instructed the women to tell the girls. The men didn't have to keep talking because they were always in an environment where the information was being passed because men actually were in the households.
Well, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that we live in a world of always on, broadband. We're always connected. So whereas grandpa and grandma couldn't talk to each other physically throughout the week, throughout the day, whereas women, they text us all day, they call us all day. It's constant communication. And I think it's system overload. They can't process all of that, is what I'm saying. But I think when Grace asked us in the beginning, we were talking about when she asked us the question about peace. A lot of us didn't describe inner peace. What we described was system, order, and structure. So men are going to create that. We're going to create a system. We're going to create an order. We're going to create a structure. And that's just something we do organically because we're logical beings. Whereas women are chaotic naturally. But to just constantly play into the game with women, constantly talking to them, that's not what we do. And they're not going to understand what we want anyway, because they're only going to pick and choose what they want to hear anyway. So, I mean, all of us can give women clear instructions. They're not going to hear about what they want to hear.
Let me chime in here. Okay. I think that I would say in my experience with the women that I've dealt with, I have in the beginning of the relationship basically laid out, if you want to call it my instructions or what I expect. Yeah. Right. But also at the time, they've observed, right? Right. So because in conversations that has happened later, we would be talking and it would come up where they observe what I like. I mean, my wild cherry Pepsi, my Cool Ranch Doritos, what type of movie, so it's these little things. What's my favorite color, right? So, I think that I would have to say in my experience, it's a combination of laying down what our expectations is, or as the man, what your expectations is of her, coming into your life. And then her also, as things go on, as things move forward, she's observing and, taking mental notes. And even in some cases, written notes. So she knows your patterns. Because to me, what I've always liked is when a woman can come and tell me later, it's like, I know you like this, or I know what you like, right? To me, that means that she paid attention, right? So sometimes you don't have to tell her every little thing, right? And with the women that I've dealt with, they know that. Don't call me in the middle of the day about some bullshit when I'm working. That's just instant, we done, right? So, so they understand. So for the women that I've dealt with, they understand that. They know what to do, what not to do. They've observed what I like, what I don't like. And the last thing is that I think when they're really that into you, they're going to pay attention.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let me go ahead and grab it back, gentlemen. And I do appreciate all the feedback. Ladies, we are learning this from the horse's mouth. We learn about men from men. Y'all want to know how to love a man? Let me tell you why it's so important that a man needs peace. Some men leave their houses to cheat, while many leave their homes just to find peace. There's nothing more frustrating aggravating and annoying than getting home from work to a nagging wife. Being a man's peace implies that you are making intentional effort every time you're around him or communicating with him, that you are bringing him peace, joy, and positivity. For example, if you're venting about your day, your man does not want to hear the story from A to Z. Just get to the meat of the sandwich, tell him what happened, and get it over with. Leave that shit for your girlfriends, because they're not built that way. If you're not pouring your negativity onto him, you're bringing him positivity and light, and he'll think you're refreshing. And to answer Death Note's comment, this was a good comment, and I appreciate it. It's great that you all are aware of what is needed, but what are you doing to change it? I always hear problems and no solutions, or solutions with no progress. Well, what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to educate the lady of what peace is to a man. What is the importance of peace to a man? And to answer that question, to have peace in a relationship enables the relationship to provide a sense of security and understanding, and it allows trust to flourish. Without peace in a relationship, it can be filled with conflict, tension, and ultimately it breaks down. It breaks down. So ladies, there are 10 golden rules to follow to a man's peace, according to the fairact.com. And we have to talk about it, and you guys can chime in, because I'm going to go through them. I'm not going to go through them completely, but it's important that the ladies know, well, if you want to learn and you want to become your man's peace, or you want to be peaceful ready, so when you're in a relationship, the first one is you must be a peaceful person yourself. The first sign you're his peace is when you're peaceful. Create a peaceful environment in your home so that he will want to wish to return home after work. How many times y'all get off work and y'all don't even want to go home? Or you sit in the driveway for an hour, or you go to your homie's house, or you go to the bar to have a drink. You do everything but go home. And ladies, it's because he does not feel at peace at home. He doesn't want to deal with your aggravating and annoying ass. Okay, so he didn't take the trash out in the morning time. Okay, you asked him to do it the night before. Just take the trash out and call it a day. And excuse my language, gentlemen, and shut the fuck up. It's not that big a deal. We have to learn how to pick and choose our battles wisely. And Mr. Let Go, shout out to him, got on my ass one day because I used the word battle. Okay, so we don't use battles. Let's use situations or scenarios. Pick and choose them. We have to stop nitpicking and fighting and arguing and nagging. Because if we keep sweating the small stuff, it's going to wear a man down. And his work wife is going to look so much better than you. His work wife is going to say everything right that he wants to hear. Go ahead, Israel.
Sometimes, I keep saying it. I think you're missing what I'm saying. And Smitty, I'm going to go back to Smitty's example of the spaghetti sauce. You ain't got to do nothing. Just let it marinate. And I'm also going to go back to
men, Israel. Some men want something.
See, again, I'm trying to tell you something. You're trying to tell me. You want to listen or you want to learn? What you want to do? So going back to what you said,
I want to do both.
You can't do both. Just listen for a minute. So what you said to Hink when you talked to Hink, you gave an example. If you wanted a man to clean up the clothes, don't argue with him. Just take the clothes hamper and set it in the middle of the floor. If you did that with me, I'd kick you out my damn house. Because now you're trying to micromanage me. See? Sometimes you don't have to do nothing. The man takes the trash out to 52 times a year. It's once a week. He know he got to do it. Let him do it on his own schedule. Just leave it be. But sometimes women want to micromanage too much. Just leave the stuff alone. That's the peace we want. We're going to do it when we're going to make sure it gets done. Especially if he takes the trash out every week. Anyway, come on, it's 52 weeks in a year. For some reason, he forgot this week he got to do it. I doubt it. But sometimes, again, y'all want to micromanage. Just got to let things go. But I remember when you had that conversation with Hink, and that burned me up. I'm like, there's no way I would let somebody set my clothes hamper in the middle of the floor. You do that with children, not with men. I know your intention
Ladies,
was
I be
good.
getting checked on my own shit. And
Tried to
I'm
come on the
not
show
mad
that
at,
day.
I don't get upset.
I tried to come
No,
on the
but
show
I
that
just
day.
want to let
Remember?
the ladies know that even though even though this is Embrace the Grace, I have to be open, and that's one of the golden rules. You have to be open-minded to learn. He's absolutely right. But you see his approach. Do you want to listen or do you want to learn? What did I do? I shut the fuck up and I'm listening. But y'all want to argue and y'all want to keep combating. I am trying to learn as well too, because I'm not perfect. But I would rather go with Truth's way. Like the gentleman that I'm seeing now, he let me know his playbook. This is what I expect. These are my expectations. I don't expect shenanigans. I don't like drama. I need you to be positive. And I drive the car better when I have my GPS on and I know what I'm going and where I have to do. Now, as time goes by and I observe his behavior, yes, Israel, that's where your thought process comes in. I should know better. I should know that my man likes this. I should know that when he comes home from work, he wants a cold Heineken and have ESPN on and let him decompress for an hour and leave him alone. But women, and you're right, and I'm going to put myself out there. I just displayed it. I'm trying to learn from men, and I went ahead and rebutted him, and he had to check me, and that's okay. But he did it respectfully. It's when y'all yell and come out your character.
I'm just going to use the restroom real quick. You're solid.
An issue.
And us men, we do it too.
Okay,
we observe women. We learn our women. I mean, I saw my grandfather was trained so well, it was ridiculous. I mean, and my grandmother's thing was her kitchen. You don't do nothing in this kitchen. I run this particular area of the house. And my grandfather knew how my grandmother wanted something. He didn't have to ask her 24/7. He knew over time what certain things that she wanted. Us men do it. We know what kind of ice cream our women like. We know what kind of soap she wants us to buy. You know, we know what kind of towels. You know, we learn this stuff from observation, you know, and just practice over time. You know, we pay attention to y'all. Yeah. We know how y'all like us to get our hair cuts.
This girl knows what Gatorade flavor he likes.
Yeah, we don't get our hair cuts because we like it. We get it cut because y'all like it.
I get my hair cut because I like it.
Man, whatever. You know, you be thinking about that girl in the mirror. You be like, man, she don't like me today.
I'm already married. She gonna get what she gonna.
Hey, I got a funny joke for all of y'all. Y'all gonna laugh at this. This is a little bit off topic, a little icebreaker. Y'all know y'all grandmama ain't had no drawers under that nightgown, right?
I don't want to think about that.
Grandma knew what grandpa liked.
That is not the visual we want.
Hey, but look,
definitely not.
They stayed together 50 years.
He's probably spitting facts as many times as they tell stories about him taking her on the cold floor.
Mm-hmm.
He probably had easy access.
And you better not go in that room if the door was closed.
Woo.
Don't even knock on the door.
You know, I will say this to the peace thing on the women's side. If they do need advice, right now, if you are one of the women who are literally trying to make a real conscious effort to be married, to learn how to cater to a man and serve one the entire life, understand that women have forgot how to be women of service. Marriage is about service. It's not about anything else.
Yep.
You have to serve. We have lived through 30 years of R&B music telling you that the man is supposed to do something for you. And what I really got to tell you is that what you forgot about is the nature of men and our benevolence. When we are served, if you don't even believe in God, let me just tell you this. When a man, we live in a gynocentric society, which is why we're failing. When we live in a male-centric society where women live to serve their men, men always reciprocate. The smart women, the women that get men, the women that serve them well, the women that are married, the women that want to stay married, the women that want to have their kids be modeled after their father and the stuff that he teaches, understand, if I serve him and I dedicate a certain amount of my time and my space and my brain and my energy to serving him, how much better can he serve this entire family? And when men serve the family, the woman is always good. It is when you want him to serve you that the family fails. I want to tell y'all something that y'all may not agree with, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Every man on earth who has ever tried to make his woman happy has failed.
Can't do it.
It is not our job to make or keep you happy. It's not possible. When we are on our purpose, when we serve the family, when we make sure the bills are taken care of and serve in the capacity in which we are able, we always overserve. We always go one more hour. We always ask for a raise. We always do what is best for the family because you gave us purpose through your obedience. And today, women are disobedient.
I was talking to a young sister the other day, and
that's church. That's church.
We got into a conversation about submission. And I told y'all, right? Women, like, they get triggered by certain words. So I phrased it to her another way, like the brother just said. I said to her, what are you willing and eager to do for the man you say you want? She couldn't answer me. I said, that's why you need to figure it out. You need to figure out what you're willing to do eagerly for that man that you want.
Can I tap in real quick, just briefly, to what Trigger Mike was saying? Bravo, sir. All right, so look, right? I personally definitely agree with what you're saying as far as it's something about, like, women don't realize truly, like when KS was talking about the power in their femininity. And when your woman is truly, like, down for you and you see, like, what? You willing to be right here while I get this together? Like, and not even like get your life together, but just, you know, whatever you all are building towards. Man, women don't realize how much they give us drive. I'm trying to, like, why you think, like, for example, on TV shows, I want y'all to think about it real quick. On TV shows, what is the depiction of the guy always after he breaks up with his girlfriend? Afterwards, his buddies go by, he on the couch, he ain't shaved, you know, he ain't cleaned up his place, everything. Everything falls off. Because why? Because what that symbolizes, it's how much that almost like not sense of purpose, but like that drive to want to keep going extra hard, like Trig was saying, that is dead on point. Because men, we get our gratifications from knowing that the people around us rely on us. We get gratification from knowing we are in a position that when you call my daughter or whatever, whoever, when you call, I'm right there. I'm in a position to do something. That's when we recognize, you know, that's when we are on that level. But yeah, I'm with you, Trigger Mike. That's all I wanted to say. I digress. My mic is muted.
That's what I was saying earlier about being the resource. You know, Mike said it great, but yes, I don't know how women are gonna grab that imagery, but yeah, they do put a battery in our back, you know, for lack of better terms. And you guys are absolutely correct. So
damn, they're not batteries these days. They draining the battery.
And that resource that he keeps mentioning, we give it in 4 ways. We call it meat: money, energy, attention, and time. That's how we communicate our resources to the world. You know, so sometimes I think modern times, they just they only focus on the money aspect of it. But there are other things that men do beyond money: attention, energy, and time. You know, we pay attention. You know, you spend time. You know, those words are there for a reason.
You know, I would love for men to start asking women certain questions, and I hope Leanne is, you know, available because we have another female on the panel. But I would love for men to ask women, what have they learned, majority from women, and then listen to their responses, and then simultaneously ask them what have they learned from men. And what I mean by that, because they probably won't even be able to digest that correctly, because they just have this illusion that all information is just there and it was not presented. So has a degree, if she's a doctor, a lawyer, whatever she is, try to have her spell out how much male influence it has and see what she says. You know, just for an experience, social experiment. You know, it's something that tickles me. My mic is muted.
Hey, Grace,
You already know. Nah, go ahead, V. Go ahead, V. I was just going to say briefly, you already know if you ask them that question, brother, what that's going to turn into. So, like, what have you learned from men? They're going to turn that into an insult. Well, I'll tell you what I've learned from men. I learned not to trust them. They all dogs. And you know what I'm saying? And whole time missing the whole question. They will turn that into an insult because they don't know how to answer. I promise you. I promise you. Bet 50.
So guys, let me continue with the golden rules so I can teach the ladies on how to bring peace to a man. Stop sweating the small stuff. When he apologizes, forgive him. Stop bringing up old shit, and stay to the lecture at hand. If we're arguing about the trash, don't bring up about the socks that happened 2 weeks ago. That's annoying to men. Okay, stay to the lecture at hand. Strive to make things and his life easier. Avoid doing things that you know frustrate him. Us women love to push a man's buttons, and that's not cool. It really isn't, because you don't know what kind of day he had at work. You don't know what he had to do with at work, and now he's gonna come home to you pushing his buttons. If it's not conducive to his environment, it's not going to be peaceful, and that's not being peaceful to your man. Another one that's really big for men, and it's even more, and I was surprised when I read this, gentlemen, it's even set up higher than sex. Respect. You ladies have to really realize that respect is equated with sex, and how can you say you love your man if you don't respect him? And I see these young girls and these women cursing their man out, F this and F that and this, and then you expect that man to lay down with you at night and love on you, but you didn't just disrespect this man in public. I mean, come on, ladies, that's not being a peaceful woman. That's not being setting a good environment, because respect goes hand in hand with peace.
Hey, we picking up
that's another
background
one.
noise.
Compliment him. Whose background noise is that? Who's outside? Because it sounds like wind.
Yeah, it sounds like wind in the car or something.
It says here, compliment him. Even though guys deny that they don't need it and they don't like it, but say things like, I feel lucky to have you. Thank you for what you do for this family.
Men love compliments.
I set a challenge out there to the mother. Words of affirmation is very important. Maybe that may be the love language of your man, but it is necessary from time to time.
We like flowers and fruit baskets.
Hey, let me say this, because we don't. This is a time in history where we need to start. First off, I'm not afraid. Let me just say that. But other people need to stop being afraid of having the real conversation. Every time a conversation gets hurtful, we tend to gaslight.
I always say, have the real conversation.
Exactly. So, what I want to say to what Grace is saying right now, is that what we call you? Is it Grace? Do we call you Grace?
Yeah. If there's another Grace on the panel, then it goes to Embrace and then Grace. But right now, I'm the only Grace on the panel, so yes, this is good.
All right, bet. So, damn, what was I gonna say?
The real conversation.
Stop being we have to stop being afraid to let women know exactly when men start to slip away. If you don't, ask the average man when the last time you heard, I feel so lucky to have you. I feel so glad I'm with you. Ask a man the last time he heard something like that. Most men will tell you they've never heard anything
Like 20
like
years, I never heard it, not once.
from a woman.
That's sad.
And the
That's
weirdest part
sad.
about that is because women, we live in such a gynocentric society in which the women believe the man is supposed to be serving her, which is backwards, by the way, which is backwards.
Yes.
You serve
Yep.
me. I serve our purpose. I serve the Lord. I serve our family. You serve me. But because you think I'm supposed to turn around and serve you, we got it backwards. And I want to tell you exactly when your man will start to slip away from you. And it's almost the easiest thing to do, because when another woman wants your man, what does she do? She uses all the stuff you've never told him to snatch him right from up under you. And I know you're gonna go into all, if anybody who hear it, but men not supposed to be cheating, but men, it all applies. We don't care. Let's have the real conversation.
You know what?
Do you
That's a real
know
conversation, exactly.
how a man's mind will slip and start to prefer that woman, how he can get close to her and start developing an emotional relationship, is because she is saying the things you never said or don't say enough. A man's spirit craves that type of praise.
Wow.
Everybody will want to be drawn closer to that
Ladies
person.
are getting it from the horse's mouth.
Okay, I have seen this firsthand, because
Hey, Trey.
the easiest way for a woman to fall in love with you is at work. You spend more time with those people than you do at home.
Absolutely.
And I'm telling you, right, the first time a girl was just like, good God Almighty, you just a black. This lady, like I literally was like, please, Lord, stop. She was over my shoulder, like, a black man at that. You just hear, you're so intelligent. I love the way you just are so attentive. And I was like, please, stop. Do you know how good that felt? Nothing materialized, of course, but that is the moment where a man is at a crossroads. If his woman is not serving her purpose in that way, that man might go astray. That's all I wanted to say.
Hey, I want to add on to what Trigg said, but you want to know what is so diabolical about women when they do that, Trigg?
Yeah.
Because I've seen situations like that, exactly what you said. Women, a lot of times, especially if they find you as like their homegirl's man attractive, or you seem like something, they'll do all of that for one reason only, just to see if they match up with their homegirl.
Yep.
They want to see. So whole time they don't even really want you. So you, man, how many of dudes at the end of the day, Cheryl might not have been giving you those compliments how you want, but Cheryl is still here. Now, Cheryl's girlfriend, Keisha or whatever, she don't really want you. She just want to know, do I still, because they've always been competing since middle school, high school, all of that. You see what I'm saying? So they will go through, so Keisha will go through all that trouble just to get you and mess up everything, just so she can have that stripe of saying, B, I still add up. Whole time she didn't even want you. And all I'm saying is to the brothers, you gotta be careful of that. I'm not saying, now you do have some situations to land it. You do have some situations where, no, that turned out to be a 30-year marriage. So I do get that, but I just wanted to say, we have to remember, women do things to impress other women. We tell them we don't like the nails, the weave, all of that. It's not for us, it's for other women. When they get with you, if you have a good status, it's not because you really are somebody who can provide for them. Because they always say, I'm independent and I don't need a man. No, they are getting you as a trinket. You are a trophy. They just want to show off. Look at this, B, first place, gold medal. That's it. You're just a trophy. So now, when they're doing all of that, if you don't know how to see that, then bruh, you will get caught up and swept up in the whole thing, and then you wound up losing everything with that. And don't let you have no kids involved. And she go ahead and take you to court and take everything because her girlfriend was saying some sweet nothings in your ear. I digress. My mic is muted, but you on point, Trey. You on point.
Yeah.
I want to go back to what
So another
Grace said
golden
about
rule,
respect.
gentlemen. Go ahead.
And
No, go ahead, Israel. Land that one. Land respect, and we'll move to the next one.
when you said the thing about respect, and it made me think about the movie Not Easily Broken, right? That was with Taraji P. Henson and Morris Chestnut. And there was a scene in the movie where he was outside in front of the house arguing with the mama. And Taraji walked up behind her mama and she didn't say a word. And Dave Johnson was his character, and he looked at Taraji and said, "You gonna let your mama talk to me like that?" She didn't say nothing. She turned her head. He asked her again, "You gonna let her talk to me like that?" And she ain't say nothing again. He says, "Well, I'm done," because that was just the ultimate form of respect for disrespect for him. I'm done. He was through with her at that point, and that's when he moved out the house and we got the hotel. But that respect thing is and kind of similar to what I said about that clothes hamper. I'm gonna go back to that too. That's the same thing. Is that disrespectful to me? You know, but that's all I had. I just wanted to touch on them.
So, gentlemen, then the next one is show gratitude. A man who works hard to make ends meet deserves to be thanked. He may have not fulfilled all of his promises, but he's trying and appreciating the small things. So instead of sweating the small things, let's flip that and turn a negative into a positive. Let's appreciate the small things that can help you attract the bigger things. Make him feel secured. Rest assured that even if no one recognizes his efforts, you're supposed to recognize his efforts because you're his woman, you're his safe haven, and you're supposed to create the peace for him. Accept and appreciate whatever gift he offers you, no matter how minute it is. This self-entitlement, ladies, that you guys got, that he's supposed to buy you a Birkin bag and he's supposed to be doing that. Man, I'd be happy if you come by my job and drop me off an iced coffee and get it the way I like it. I'm happy with that. I'm a happy camper with that because that let me know that you went and got my coffee. You thought of me enough to get it, to come to my job and got it right. We're just too much into this materialistic thing. And unfortunately, social media has really ruined. I mean, I remember when a man used to bring flowers to a woman and that was enough.
So
now they want $200-300 dinners. You want to order shit that you can't even pronounce, you ain't never had before, and you have to realize it's on the fucking side of the menu. I mean, come on, ladies. I mean, we got to keep it right. I mean, look, guys, I know how I can relate to y'all and the things that I can say sometimes. I've heard y'all in the barbershops. I've heard y'all talking at football games, in the pool hall. I hang out with y'all. I know how y'all move. I don't know everything. Just like Israel just displayed to me, you know what I'm saying? He put it down and I'm okay with that. Another thing that we need to start doing more, but I'm going to have a little pushback on this one and I need y'all gentlemen to help me with this. It says be feminine. Most of us ladies at this point dismissing his masculinity and literally competing for the position of the head of household does not work well with the men. Be feminine and be soft. If you disagree with him on something, have the conversation, but be polite about it. Don't display sign language. If anybody knows shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right, be feminine without practicing feminism and let him feel like the man that he is. Okay, I can appreciate that, gentlemen, but I need your help making me understand something and to see if you agree with me. I know I have masculine energy. My dad raised me. I was a daddy's girl.
I was just going to get into masculine. Okay.
I'm from New York. I'm half Italian. I'm half Dominican. Woo, 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 woo. And one guy said, okay, so that's just excuses. You have a feminine side to you. But the thing that I need to explain to you, gentlemen, it is very easy for my femininity to come out when you guys are in your masculinity. When I feel that when I don't feel protected or secure, my masculinity is going to come out. But when a man is in his masculinity, it is much easier for women play in their femininity. Would you agree with me or not agree with me
So
on that?
Well, let me I think that where we're at nowadays, you have a lot of women who they'll look, they'll look feminine, but that feminine energy, right? Not only the feminine energy, but in the way that they talk, right? Most alpha men, sigma men, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to deal with that. They want a woman that, not only looks feminine, but talks feminine, and she has that feminine energy. I mean, it's now granted, there are some men that, is turned on by women who may have that masculine energy and having that voice where they talk in masculine. I mean, shit, look at some of these female hip hop artists that's out now and what they're doing. And this is what they're sort of grooming these girls to be and sound like. So, I mean, I think that with us, we want a woman that not only looks feminine, but, obviously she talks feminine and that feminine energy, right? That's what we like. That's what we into. That's what we want. But if we got to deal with or feel masculine energy, then that's going to definitely create conflict and a clash.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Like I always remember the scene in Love and Basketball. I played ball. It was hard for me not to sit sometimes, like I was on the bench playing ball. I had to remember, oh, I'm in a dress. I have to sit. But when you're used to doing things and a lot of guy things, let me put it in the best example for you, and you guys can break this down for me. I've been driving the car for a long time. Okay? Now you're asking me to relinquish the steering wheel. So not only do I have to relinquish the steering wheel, now I have to trust that you know how to drive. I have to trust that you're going to get us there safely. And I have to trust that you know where we're going. And I'm willing to do that because I'm exhausted. I want to sit in the front seat and look cute and be the lady. But when you've been driving that vehicle for so long, for whatever reason, and I take accountability for the kind of men that I dated, and they were a lot of, I'm attracted to alphas, but I tended to always get with betas. So now I'm trying to change my mindset and move where I can coexist with an alpha.
All right.
It's a lot. It's a lot of within
there's
myself.
there's one thing we have to stop doing because we give betas a bad name.
Yeah, let me tap in after you. I'm with you on that.
Beta is the follower of alpha. Beta might not be with that shit either. Women today like gamma males. The gamma male behavior is like adventurous, fun-loving, restless. So Pookie is a gamma male. So Pookie was probably raised by a woman. He's really passive. He doesn't care. Nah, do your thing. That's the man that'll let a woman drive. Beta is the follower of alpha. He might not be with you driving his shit either. But here's what I'll say to the masculinity and femininity thing that you were talking about. So I always use this analogy of a man and woman wake up in the woods. They walk out to the road, and there's a car key and a car, and a note that just says drive to the nearest station. And the modern woman, a traditional woman, is literally the man grabs the keys. The traditional woman knows naturally to get in the passenger seat. But the modern woman is going to say, hey, why should you drive just because you're a man? And what I need men to do is look at her and say, yes, now get in the passenger seat or get freaking left. She can't take the keys from you.
Trey.
You see what I'm saying? She can't take the keys.
Hey, Trey.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just
saying. No, I thought you were done. My bad.
Let me jump in before you do, Smitty. But go ahead, Trey.
We need to stop letting women think that they can take the keys. We need to stop acquiescing and being like, oh, well, I guess it's fair if she gets to drive. Because let me tell you, this is also something I use to explain to people. Here is why men drive and women are in the passenger seat. If my wife is driving while me and our children are in the car, and God forbid something happens and our children perish, Do you think people are going to say, damn, that's crazy, she hurt those kids? No, the first question they're going to ask is, why wasn't
he wasn't driving?
Exactly.
Yep.
You have to be smart enough to know that's what the world expects from you. Tell her to sit her ass down in that passenger seat. As you see what I'm saying? That is her role for life. When you are present, unless you are injured, you drive. Because you know, it's just a vigilance thing. It's an awareness thing. This is what the world expects from us. She is out of place if she's driving you around and you are in the passenger seat. Metaphorically, of course, but to that point about femininity and masculinity, I think what happens now is that when women say what you said, Grace, where it's like, you need us to be masculine so you can be feminine, I'd like to make the point that practice makes habit. And especially from being from the East Coast, especially like New York chicks, oh my God, a lot of them are so masculine.
Oh yeah.
And the man got nothing to do with it. The man has nothing to do with it. And a lot of people think that somebody must be acting this like a bad follower because they have a bad leader, and that is no longer true. Bad followers make it hard for good leaders. So if I'm being in my masculine frame the way I'm supposed to, but still getting and exercising logic, exercising thought and practicality, but I'm still getting second guessed because my woman is not feminine and wants to jockey for position all the time, then she's just not a good follower. It does not mean I'm not a good leader. And I think we've gone into a time where society has has created consequences for men imposing their masculinity on women. So much so that it makes the woman simply, out of being conniving, just poke, second guess, get him off his square. Well, why do you got to do that? Asking questions so much, second guessing him so much to the point where he starts to second guess himself. So I need women to understand that we can absolutely be creatures of bad. You could be a bad follower. You could absolutely be so unfeminine, and that you've practiced it for so long that you will give the most masculine, the most stoic, the most cooperative, loving man issues in y'all relationship simply because you forgot how to remain in your feminine frame. My mic is muted.
So I'm gonna tap in real quick, and then I think Smitty was coming right after me, y'all.
Okay, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
He's rubbing his hands, so I know he got some hot shit going too in his head. But listen, let me break this alpha beta shit down, okay? Most men are betas, and we're betas at different times. This is what women don't determine who is an alpha. Most of the time, y'all don't even know, because it's something that men do organically because we separate ourselves into a hierarchy. So if us group of men right now, if we were in person, one of us will become the alpha. I don't know who it is, but one of us naturally and organically would be that alpha, the leader of the group. It doesn't mean we're less of a man. We're still all masculine men. It's just one is the leader at that particular time. So if you got 10 men, one is the leader. If you got 100 men, one is the leader. It doesn't mean, I think we kind of use beta and simp, as synonyms, and they're not. Because you could actually have an alpha that becomes a simp at a different time. Another conversation. But women oftentimes, they think a man is alpha because he's masculine. And us men, we'll hear that same man and go, he ain't alpha. There's no way he's alpha. And it's not a disrespectful thing. It's just he is or he isn't. Competitiveness is one of the key things an alpha has. An alpha, one way you could tell a man is an alpha or not an alpha is he thinks he's better than other men. He wants to be better. He's competitive. He wants to be the best on his job. He wants to be the best at whatever he does. That's a natural sign of a leader. A beta man doesn't care. They'll say things like, ain't no man better than me. We all equal. That's not an alpha. That is not an alpha. Alphas don't think they're equal to anybody. They think they're better. Sigmas are like that too. But we're all betas to some degree, depending on the group that we're within. So I think we use that alpha term and beta term. It really only applies to groups of men. And sometimes I think women get confused by that And that's why they wind up with Pookie and Ray Ray, because they think because Pookie is aggressive or he's behaving in a certain way, he must be alpha. No, not at all. Actually, the alpha dude is usually the quiet dude in the group. He's not the loudest one. Unfortunately, that's just the way it works. I hope that makes sense. I
Good
see the
evening.
fellas nodding their heads. I was talking to Grace when I asked that.
Nah, you good. Nah, I was waiting because I wanted to I wanted to
Yeah, go
ask
ahead,
you a
Smitty. I'm
question.
sorry, I'm done.
Nah, you good, bro. You good. It's all respect. So look, right. All right. So very briefly, I wrote this down to what you were saying, V, as far as like the alphas. Now, you're on point with that, but I think we got to remember to just simplify it for folks. It's not a whole bunch with the whole alpha thing. Alpha means first. So when you got the pack of wolves, that alpha, it's simply the one that's in the front. It's
The
just
leader.
the first, the leader.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So now, when we know that alpha just simply means leader, then we know it has nothing to do with being all like barbaric. Because
Right.
alpha, right? It's gotten a bad stigma, like oh, you an alpha male. That means you like on that red pill, misogynistic, and
Right.
you think you're
Other things.
all of that,
Yeah.
overbearing, and it only means first. That's it. All right. So if I'm first, follow my lead. I'm gonna make sure we get to where we gotta go. I'm gonna make sure we hump where we gotta hump, whatever it is. All right.
Achilles
So move
is a
on.
good example of that, right? Achilles, not to jump. Let me jump in real quick, Smitty. I'm sorry. Achilles, if you ever
Okay.
watched the movie Troy, right?
Mhm.
Achilles was a leader when it came to his group, his soldiers that were directly under him. But when it came to the king, he wasn't the alpha to the king. He was a
Right.
sigma when it compared to when he got to the king. Because him and the
Okay.
king used to battle all the time, but he didn't want to lead the kingdom. So Achilles didn't want to lead everybody. He just wanted to do his thing and go home. So he was a sigma when it really came down to it. He wasn't.
So let me get to this point.
Go ahead.
Briefly. So,
Hey,
Brother
hold on,
Trig, if you're
gentlemen.
there.
Time out.
It's okay. Go ahead. You got
Gotta
it, Grace.
bring
It's your show,
Leanne in.
baby.
She's been sitting quietly and patiently.
Oh, okay. Bring her in.
Let me bring her in, and then we can go with Smitty's question to trigger
Okay.
Mike.
All right.
Leanne,
Bet. No problem.
introduce yourself, and I know you've been
Hey,
patient.
no, I'm good.
Say what you gotta
No,
say,
my
my dear.
internet's been crazy and in and out, so my bad. I've been struggling. First of all, be gentle
That's
with
okay.
people. I just have a couple of questions. I've who's giggling? I have not yet met a man who didn't think he was 100% qualified to be followed and lead, do all the things that you guys are talking about. And I'm not in a position to question anybody's validity or who you are and how you guys walk through the world. So that's not what I'm trying to say. But, you were saying that the women are going to come back and they're going to start bashing on men. And I hear descriptions that Grace is talking about women do this and women do that. I don't fit any of those descriptions from my personal perspective, which is the only real one that I can speak from. But how do you guys propose you navigate the droves of men that are of the mindset that they should be followed and given the latitude to prove themselves, to exhibit their ability to lead, their ability to walk through situations appropriately, to honor his woman's participation and respect, and then consistently don't. I can't even tell you the number of men that I've come across where it's like, all right, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt until they prove themselves different. But I don't know. It's not even a matter of picking those men, because you can't always see it.
It is a matter
you
of
can't
picking
always
them.
see it.
Did you
yeah,
choose
that's
the men?
fine.
Is what I'm asking. The men you're talking about, did you choose them?
for the limited period of time until they prove themselves unqualified.
Okay, you're adding too much. So my question is a yes or no. Well, did you pick them, or did your daddy pick them? Is what I'm really getting at.
No, my daddy does not pick my men. My daddy is
problem.
There you
deceased,
go.
sir.
Let me add
Or
to
your
that. Let me
daddy's
add-
figure, or your
Let me add to
brother,
that.
or some man that you trust in your life
Well, let me add
is a
to that. so
reason
we
why
can-
we ask that question.
How does that answer the question?
No, let me add to that. Let me
You asked.
answer your-
Hold on. She asked, "How do you decide?" You don't. Other men decide who's the leader. Men, and as I said earlier, women don't typically do a good job of doing that themselves. So throughout history, men typically picked your husband for you or presented you with a selection of men you should choose from.
Absolutely.
Well,
Can I respond
really
briefly?
address
Can I?
the
Can I?
question. Real
I mean,
quick.
after you, Trey. Go ahead, bro.
So,
After you.
Leanne, I do have an answer to that question. So, in a way, you're right. Okay, so the interesting part is that women don't care about the parameters that have been set historically for how they're supposed to choose or not choose men, but how they're supposed to find a mate. Women no longer care. So a large part of this actually falls on them. I will tell you, every man, it's actually only ever been a select group of men who were eligible and worthy to have their bloodline continued. Do you agree?
yes.
Exactly. So women, especially women who know how to practice hypergamy, are supposed to say, at the very least, let me make sure this man is capable of providing for the seed and myself that he might impregnate me with.
Yeah.
Women don't even have that type of self-worth anymore to make sure those parameters are met. So I understand what you mean when you say, oh, well, all men aren't worthy to be followed. I would agree. It has never been but a select group of men who look up to another group of men who are able and functional and productive enough to be afforded the right and the gift of having their bloodline continue. But because women have a bad habit of procreating with the lowest ranking member of the group, just like Israel said, when you choose for yourself, y'all make the worst decisions women have ever made. Do you think that's more men's fault or women's fault?
I think it's a little bit of an
I would say
oversimplification.
women.
I hear what you're saying. I'm just wondering if you guys really understand the volume of men that are out there.
Well,
that
that's what I really wanted to ask
like
you.
it really is. I mean, I'm not trying to be provocative and I'm not trying to be blamey. I'm trying to have a legit conversation and learn, and I'm listening.
We follow you.
But like,
Oh.
you know, let's like not pretend like there's a structure of men surrounding women choosing partners for
Can I-
them. There's a whole
can I
shitload of
respond
men out
briefly,
there
please?
who think that they're great, and they're
Well,
not.
unfortunately, when they measure
Real
up with
quick,
other men,
Van,
then that's
Van,
when they find out they're not.
let me respond real quick. What the brothers are saying so far, sister, that is very much so a real thing. See, the thing is this, right? You as a woman, you don't know how to really truly gauge. See, our sight is different, truly. Like the way we see, like the way we outlook on life is different than yours. We know how to peep and see certain things. I was watching a movie literally just last night. I believe the movie is called Overnight or something, or Late Night, whatever. And it has that old white guy from the We Are Farmers commercial. And long story short, he played the dad, he had a daughter, and they had the situation that most people don't have nowadays. And that is, she had dinner with dad, her, and the boyfriend. And dad was primarily asking the questions. He was scouting, because there are certain things that men are able to detect that women aren't. So that is a real thing. So if you have a male figure in your life, you should definitely refer to that male figure when you get your, so all of that trying to hide your boyfriend and all of that, when you hear they're like, get him out my house. You have to understand, but you don't even know him. We don't have to. We smell it. We see it. It reeks. We know. We had buddies like them that we cut off to make sure that you and your mother and your siblings was cool. We know how to see what you don't. And when you continuously ignore that and you choose to go listen to, your favorite female spokesman or whatever, who knows nothing about men, probably never had really a successful relationship, that's how you continuously stay warped in that cycle of dating and dating and dating. And then what happens? You continuously collect more bodies. When you collect more bodies, then you become more disgruntled, and then you distrust people more and more. So now when you finally come across that good dude, you don't even know how to receive them. You're too damn damaged. You damaged goods. You don't even know how to receive them.
Can I jump
I
in?
digress. My mic is muted.
Okay.
I would like to ask you a question, Leanne, if I can, because I want to do my best to try to answer your question, because I heard you use the term of oversimplification. You said men, you disqualified them. What disqualifies the men you're referring to?
Not walking their talk, man. You can only listen to somebody talk. I mean, and every man sits there and says, oh, well, that guy you were with was not worth his salt. It happens over and over and over again.
Hold on, Leanne, are you serious?
You sit back and I'm telling you.
Now she's
every
making a
dude
point.
comes into your universe. Just a minute, man. I'm telling you from a woman's perspective, which you do not have. So you have a certain perspective of how women move and what they're doing, but you're not a woman. And I'm not a man. So I'm listening to you. I am. But I'm telling you, as a woman out in the world, and I'm not a young woman, and I'm not a frivolous woman. And, I'll date somebody, but I'm going to wait and hear who they say they are. I'm going to see if their actions are congruent with what they say. And as soon as I start seeing that diverge, I'm done. But
Okay.
every man will walk into your life and they will straight up flip and tell you, oh, I'm not like any man you ever been with. I don't move like that. I don't do this. I'm special. I'm this. I'm that. And I've had guys that don't say it too. And I've watched it. It's not like I haven't come across some men that are completely worthy.
Okay, let me ask you.
We didn't necessarily gel on another front, but we're still friends and respect, and we don't have a problem with that. I'm not the girl that goes to your girlfriends to get advice on what to do about men. I don't move that way. I never have. I never will. So I get what you're trying to say, but we keep talking about these generalizations. But to me, it kind of makes me wonder, as men who are of substance, of men who are honorable, are men who are capable of leading, is it not also up to you guys to maybe put some of these lesser dudes in check and quit fucking with all these women?
No, absolutely not. I am so glad I could almost to the second. God has given me powers. I knew you were going to say that. It is not. It is absolutely not. So
you think it's our job to educate the women to behave differently?
It is usually, because if you were listening earlier, I said we don't need unity. We need more division, and we need tribalism, because the only duty that I have to this world is a good example. That's it. I have to set a good example for others to follow. Those who are like me will follow my example because they want to model themselves after it. That is the choice given to every single American and every single free person that walks this earth. We allow you the ability to make your own choices. That's why I said it's on the woman to say, well, if I'm going to keep getting swindled by these low-ranking men, maybe I'm not the person to make the best decision. Let me go find someone who can make this decision for me, or at least tell me what characteristics a man is supposed to have so he does not go back on his word. But alternatively, what we find is that women think that's boring. Functional men are boring. The Shade Room and all these other media outlets are buzzing today because Aisha Curry, who is married literally to probably the most perfect being on the face of this earth, played around and took her wedding ring off for a damn stripper on a show. This is not really about men, and what y'all already know where the good men are. You already know the behaviors we have, but you just need chaos in your life. This is not about men at all.
But see, you're generalizing women as well. You're telling us women not to generalize men that are presenting themselves in a certain way, but you're generalizing women into the group of the women that you don't think are worthy, and spreading it.
Leanne,
Like,
can I ask you a
let's have
question?
conversations
Let me ask her
between
one
people
question.
that
Let me
want
ask
to
her
have
one
an
question, though.
understanding.
Let me ask her one question,
But
Smitty. So
I got I got a question after you. I got a question after you.
So you heard me say that
I said
all
be
men.
gentle.
Hold on. You heard me say that all men are not worthy of marriage or to have their bloodline continued. Would it be fair to also say, alternatively, all women are not entitled to be married or are not good candidates to be a wife? Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
All right.
And I answered your question earlier. I
Can I?
told you women
Yeah.
shouldn't
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, V. Go ahead, V.
That's the thing. They shouldn't be picking. That was the answer. Not how to pick better. You just not to pick at all. Without
Well,
guidance.
That's dogmatic and problematic, and you're assuming that. I mean, come on. It's not like we haven't been through that shit. Come on now. Women have been possessions longer than anyone on this planet. And you want to go back to this idea where women are bargained away and dowried into the next best marriage that the dad thinks is great. I mean, you don't have a better description of that.
Ma'am, that's not what I said. And you're not
Don't, ma'am, me. I'm not that old.
You actually over-talking me. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. But we got 4,000 years worth of documented human history, and women have only been picking for the last 50 years.
And women have been being beat and miserable,
that's
and
not
just there to bear children for whomever, whether they're qualified or not. Don't assume because the dad picks them that they were qualified. There's a lot of documentation in history that proves that wrong.
I'm not assuming anything. Again, I'm using documented history. So since women have been picking, you have more problems, and women today, by their own admission, are unhappier than ever before. That's by your own
One
admission.
could argue that the difference is that up until 1976, women weren't allowed to have their own money and be able to be financially independent and exert their own preferences themselves. I mean, you're idealizing a situation from the male perspective and not the female perspective.
I really hate when we have the conversation about women and bank accounts. What's the use of somebody who has a bank account that doesn't have a job? Please explain. None.
But they started having bank accounts that had jobs.
Let me make this point. You have to understand that like women cannot really use these things as because it wasn't really about oppression. It wasn't. Literally everybody was suffering. Women got rights right along black men. So how is it about women's oppression?
After and actually,
I'm talking about throughout the guise of history. What, give or take 10 years?
No, it's not like that. Black men got the right to vote before women got the right to vote. That's an entirely different conversation. What I'm trying to talk about, I mean, there needs to be.
Yeah, you're doing the math in your head, and you know that ain't math. That's what you.
Yeah,
let me ask you a question.
No, wait, please. Can I real quick? I just want to ask her this. So briefly, because I won't be long at all. And Brother True, take it away, bro. Take it away. So Leanne, and honest question. You know what, like whatever hobbies or what you're into and what type of lifestyle you like to live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Me as a man, if I was a man in your life, and I mean like a big brother, cousin, whatever, right? A man in your life, dad, whatever, I would ask you if you came to me and you were saying, you know what, Uncle Smitty, I keep on not having success with these guys. The very first thing, of course, that I would ask you is, where are you meeting them? How do you meet these men? Are you doing like these online dating apps? Do you go to the clubs or the bars? Like, where are you going? Because the thing is that we all know birds of a feather flock together. You have to be able to make sure that you put yourself in the places where those, just like Trigger Mike said, it's about that tribalism. And that even goes down to dating. You have to surround yourself with folks that are like-minded, folks that are like yourself. You can't go to a place that's just a mixture, just a gumbo. You got all kinds of stuff in the pot, right? And you trying to make this something that's like a specific whatever. No. You have to be able to surround yourself around the people that think like you. That's more than likely how you would find somebody where you won't have to say 6-8 months down the line once again, dang it, me and Dan, me and Kyle, me and Brad, whoever broke up. So I just wanted to say, where are you meeting these people? And you should maybe think about that. I digress. My mic is muted. Go ahead, True.
Sure, if you don't mind, just real quick. I think the difference here and the problem with the contention here is it's cultural differences between black and white people. Okay. And I think that may be some of the misunderstanding that you're having, because we're speaking about women who have historically been in a gynocracy, whereas white women have not. Y'all been historically in a patriarchy. So some of the issues that you're bringing up don't compute for us because it's a difference in the cultures. The black women and white women have different issues, unfortunately. Similar sometimes, but different. For example, what you brought up about as far as white women not getting women not getting control of their money until 46 years ago, that's ridiculous. Black women have always controlled the money because there's been a gynocracy. Always have controlled the money in the black community. But so that doesn't apply to us, the group of men that you're speaking to right here. It doesn't fly with us. But I don't want to move the goalposts because that tends to happen. As I stated earlier, we need to stay on the point. The question was, how do you pick better? And my answer still remains the same. You don't. You can't do it by yourself. Your track record proves that. It's not an assumption. Your track record does it. It is what it is. And that started in 1969 with no-fault divorce. That's when the game got changed for everybody. So before that period of time, we were married at higher.
D, can I say something real quick to that?
Yeah.
I feel that I'm making better choices now because I've gone through the healing process. I've gone through the growth process. I've learned how to be a better communicator, ask the questions.
So let me stop you. Men would cut that short and ask you, where's your husband?
Wait, if I'm picking a man, I don't have a husband. I'm picking a man to have a husband.
Exactly. So you're still going through that process. So you haven't gone through it yet.
I've been married. I was married for 12 years.
Doesn't matter. Why aren't you still married?
Nah, Israel. No, man. Nah.
If I may, gentlemen.
Not Israel. Nah, bro. Nah.
I would like to really get to Leanne's question if we can. So Leanne, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so, and I need information in order to best answer this question. What are you seeking to gain from a man? Are you seeking a relationship or are you seeking to be a wife?
I'm seeking to have a relationship and would be a wife in the right relationship.
Okay. I asked you that question for a specific reason. And this is probably why you're experiencing maybe some of the things you're experiencing. You have a duality in your choice. There's one or the other. There is no relationship at the starting point and then hoping to be a wife. You either are signing up consciously to be a wife and you will pursue things in that manner, or you're looking for a relationship. Until you make that decision, you will have a lot of static in your choosing or meeting men, because one thing I believe has happened with a lot of women is that they like the rental practice of dating, the borrowing time of dating with the hopes of marriage. So it's very important. That's why I asked you what you wanted. So I'm gonna ask you again, are you seeking to be a wife? Or are you seeking for a relationship?
I don't know that I'm prepared to answer that in the manner that you're seeking, because from my perspective, and maybe that's a hole in the thought process. I'll consider that. But a relationship and how men and women are going to relate to each other is a starting point. And there's a big practice that used to happen. You like to talk about how things used to be. And women used to date multiple men back in the day. They weren't sleeping with them, but they were dating. They were basically available until they were engaged.
What
And
time
that meant the men that
No, ma'am,
everything from the 1950s back is how that would
ma'am.
go. Hold on,
You used
let
the
me
wrong
finish.
word. You said dating. It's courting.
Okay,
Women were being
okay,
courted
I'll stand
by multiple men.
corrected.
Dating is
Right,
hoeing.
fine.
Modern day hoeing. It's not the
Well,
same.
we're not talking modern day. We're talking about okay, you want to call it the process of courtship, call it the process of courtship. But the idea was that men were in competition until they proposed, and that became a solidified, and that was accepted. And that was when that couple became that couple. So there was an air of competition, and like at the way things go now, literally you can meet a guy and they want you to be only talking to them, only involving them from the jumpstart get-go, under the idea that it's going to become something more permanent. And I see flaws in that, because I've been off that before and be like, all right, I don't have a problem with loyalty and I don't have a problem with fidelity, but I do have a problem with somebody who wants to act that just so that they don't have to watch their own back and be considering whether or not they're going to find somebody of better qualification. And there's an insecurity to that. Now, none of these are blanket statements, and it doesn't speak to every man and every relationship and every situation, because I think we are talking more generally about the associations and the interactions between men and women. I absolutely can agree with what you had to say about there is a cultural difference. I don't happen to date white men because I don't think white men actually like women much these days, or really ever have. Like, not in terms of being homosexual, I'm talking about in terms of valuing what a woman brings to the table in a relationship.
What does a woman bring to the table?
They bring comfort, they bring consistency, they bring children, they bring a different viewpoint that helps balance decision making in the relationship, that it's not always the male's view that is applicable. They need to have that conversation and listen and see how somebody else in the room might see what's going on.
Well, I don't want you to. Hold on, Trigger. Let me.
Yeah, you go.
I don't want her to get lost. That's why I asked her specifically what I asked her. And if there's women,
sorry,
no,
it's a lot of questions.
No, I know. That's why I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. In my opinion, and the thousands of women I've discussed this particular topic with, you have to decide first, in my opinion, Leanne, what it's going to look like for you. Based on what I've heard from you thus far, this is just my interpretation. I believe that you're a forward-thinking woman that assumes that you can insert yourself into a relationship with the illusion of a traditional structure, but have a modern application. It doesn't work that way. If you're going to marry, that's why I asked you, do you want a relationship or do you want to be married? Because they are very different. Marriage is asking for guidance. Marriage is saying, I'm going to subject myself to leadership, woman to man. It's structure. That's what it really is. And unless a woman decides that that is exactly what I'm looking to do, and if that is what she is choosing to do, then dating is irrelevant. Dating is not even a thing you waste your time doing. What you do is that you start to meet men who have the same mindset you do. And you only assign yourself energy and time for men who are presenting that. No man can come to you and say, I want to hang out, get to know you. And you can't do that if you are operating under the pretense and function of a wife. Now, if you want to be somebody's girlfriend, you can continue to do things, pick. And as you said, men present you something with words but don't follow in action. Well, a wife would know that action is all a man is about. So words are just the delivery, the menu of sorts. He would act on everything he said, and in a time frame that is pretty speedy, in my opinion. And I'll digress.
So true.
Can I ask a question, Grace, when you're done?
Yeah, sure. So true, to piggyback off of you, what I'm hearing you say is, he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. So you have to already be a wife You can't decide to be in a relationship and then become a wife. I'm dating with intentions to be somebody else's wife. Okay, again, but at the end of the day, I'm through that phase. I'm dating with the intentions to be a wife, so I'm moving that way. I'm asking the questions, because if it doesn't go in that direction, I'm not going to go further with you.
Well,
Is
they're
that what you're
conflated.
trying to say?
Well, I love the scriptural reference, but it's romantic in the way I process, and I think a lot of times it gets lost in translation. It is very simple. If you want a truck, you buy a truck. If you're in the market for a truck, you don't go to the dealership and buy a sedan. So if a woman is saying that she wants to be a wife, the only men that she should be entertaining are men that are bringing proposals, men that are bringing a life. That's it. If he is not saying this is if this is what I'm about, and this will come with action. It doesn't. And when I say dating is a casual application, you are taking time. You're getting to know each other. And to, I think, Leanne's point, what they didn't used to do it that way. They did used to court, but I think she made a very valid point. Women weren't sleeping with these men. See, once you start to have sex, even if you want to use biblical reference, sex is the commitment. That is the bonding of the structure of marriage, biblically. So dating shouldn't be happening. What you should be doing is you should be deciding where you want your life to end up. And if you say, I want to be a wife, well, there's no point of wasting time with a man that hasn't proposed to you after you guys have gotten past the attraction, the getting to know each other's names, what you're looking to accomplish. Proposal should be happening. You date while you're a fiance. You court while you're a fiance. You don't do that prior to that. It makes no sense, because you'll never make it to matrimony if you do it the way that most women do it now. And that's my opinion on it.
It's not just women that are doing that now, is the thing.
Thank you. Very briefly, Brother Trigg, because we got, respectfully, we got Sis Leanne. I'm going to ask you this.
Yes, sir.
So when we was talking earlier about aggressive women, things of that nature. So I got a buddy of mine. He is a successful real estate agent that I went to school with. Known him since childhood, my boy Dell. He's from Sierra Leone. And long story short, he was saying to me, now, one, let me ask you this, Brother Trigg. Does a man having finances that is in abundance, does that make them, let's say a high value man?
Finances.
In your books.
That's one of the key markers of a high value man. Yes.
Okay, boom. So watch this. He said to me, which confused me. Thank you, Grace. He said something to me that confused me, Brother Trigg. He was saying, I am attracted to alpha women. I said, what is that? He said, a woman that's a go-getter, a woman that's about her business and things of that nature. But one thing that I noticed, he's been engaged quite a few times, but the relationships never work out.
Yeah.
It always, he stays with them. He stays with a nice one, but he somehow or another, it always winds up being a different one. So only thing I wanted to ask you is, you was talking about the gamma male.
Yeah.
Is it possible that there are guys who can be high value men who do gamma type behaviors, and they do actually want a woman who they think is an alpha because maybe it reminds them of how their mother took care of them?
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much to unpack there, though.
Go ahead, take it away.
What it really is also is that men have been sold. So we got to understand this whole power couple thing is a part of the feminist movement. And what men are doing is that it's actually been confirmed by the dating apps that the woman who gets the most clicks is that Like if you see VP at Xerox, or something, you're gonna be like, it's interesting to how the hell she get there. Look at this woman. Good God. You see what I'm saying? You want to be a part of her prowess. It makes you want to get closer to her, and if she's actually attractive. But what you forget is that the wow of a woman is not always as amazing as her actual substance. So some men fall victim to doing the exact same thing women are doing, is falling in love with what superficial tendencies because of that power couple narrative. That is actually worse for a man. If you are choosing a woman based off that alone, listen, my wife is actually a very high multiple six-figure earner, okay? She created a business in Houston that was the first of its kind, sold it, and then they hired her back as a consultant and pay her money, right? But do you think I'm going around saying that this is why I made her my wife? I helped her build that business and create it. This woman, and she had, because I'm Nigerian, she had to agree to this first. You are a mother first. Then you are a regional director. I'm sorry.
All right,
I broke my own rule. You are a wife first, mother second. Then you are a regional director. Do you understand what I mean by that? So these women that you find that are super career oriented, they will never ever say wife first. They might say children first. They'll say career second and husband third. And where that man keeps falling short is that he loves prioritizing women that deprioritize him.
Brother Trey, they don't even say husband. They say partner. Ain't no husband. Partner. What's partner? We equal in this.
Before we can continue to navigate, can Leanne, did you get your question answered before we continue to navigate off?
What was your question? I couldn't hear you.
Did you get your question answered?
Somewhat, yeah.
Okay, all right.
I think when we get to
all right, let me chime in here.
Okay, so with that being said, let me finish off the golden rules, guys, because anybody that knows me, I try not to go past 2 hours. 2.5 is my limit, but you know, it's good tonight. We gotta get it in. Another golden rule to bring peace to a man is be responsive. Another quality required to be a man's peace is responsiveness. Answer his calls. Take when he gives, give when he asks, listen when he speaks, provide assistance when needed. Another one is communicate with him. But I want to interject the word effectively, because people communicate every day, but if it's not effectively and you're not comprehending what that other person is communicating, then it's minute. Many failed relationships and marriages are a result because of lack of communication, apart from the fact that communicating makes him feel at peace with you. That silent treatment bullshit us ladies be doing, or when they ask us what's wrong and we say nothing, but we're stomping around the house, that's childish and immature. If he's asking you what's wrong, answer the goddamn question. It's a necessity. Communication is a necessity. And that's part of bringing peace to a man, because he does not have time to try to play what's wrong with you all day. Don't hide your feelings. If anything's on your mind, you're supposed to talk to your man, not your mama, not your girlfriends, not your neighbor. Your confidant is your husband or your go-to man. And that's where us women, I think, if you guys can stand me corrected, we make a lot of mistakes. And that's where the concept where single women keep women single. If you're married, you hang out with married couples. If you're single,
if a man is already peaceful, how do you bring peace to?
Well, the woman has to be peaceful too.
No. Israel, a woman can add to a man's peace. She can add to what is already. I know. I'm just saying. I'm with you. I'm just saying that's the only thing she can do is add to.
I'm asking her a question today, because she keeps saying bring to, create. If a man already has peace, if a man already has peace, you can't bring it to him. He already has it.
But you have to maintain peace. And if that woman is not peaceful and she's not responsive,
that's not what you said.
But remember, the whole point of, but let me finish. The whole point of this, V, is I'm showing ladies 10 golden rules on how to bring peace to a man. And these
But
are
you
a
keep
lot of the
saying the
things that
word
women
bring.
don't do.
That's the problem I'm having. You don't have to bring anything. The man already has peace.
And how
Just
do you
don't
maintain
disturb it.
peace?
Just don't disturb it.
Hey, brother Israel, let me ask you this.
Well,
You with your woman in your home, I mean, it's just a question. How would you find, all right, what would you find acceptable as your woman adding to your peace? What would those things consist of?
Who said I
You've
needed
been
to
there.
add anything? I'm already providing it.
So, for example, if you've been in your home and let's say you do cook for yourself and you do, you know what I'm saying, take care around the house and things of that nature. Let's just say you do those things. Your home is in order. She comes by, everything cool. She can clearly see there's structure and order in which it is where you reside. You wouldn't say that her coming in, and let's just say she is at your place, you're at work, you come home, she got your clothes laid out, she got your body wash and everything, whatever you used, ready right there, towel folded up right there, everything set to go in the bathroom. Dinner's in the microwave. All you gotta do is just heat it up, baby. She even set the timer on how long. All you gotta do is push start. All of these things. So even though you've been taking care of yourself, you wouldn't say that's not how a woman could add to a man's peace by simply just contributing to what it is that we've already been doing in the first place and taking some of the load off of our shoulders.
See, again, I think we're mixing system, order, and structure with inner peace. So whether she does those things or not has nothing to do with my inner peace.
Well, see, what I'm saying, brother Israel, is that when the things that she does, let's say when you come home, before you can finally, let's say, go to the man cave, you have to do this, do that, get your clothes ready, all this other stuff. Let's just say finally you got somebody who can do all that. So when you come home, now there are so many steps that have been cut out because of her contribution. Does that not add to your peace?
No, it does not.
Respect.
Again, we're
Respect.
talking about inner
Respect.
peace. So if a man, let's say a man doesn't have a woman, he can still have inner peace without a woman.
I said that.
Yeah. So what are we talking about here? I mean,
No,
we're talking about
I
inner
said that, brother.
He can't do anything if the man's way he gets inner peace is by thinking to himself. He doesn't need the woman to interfere in that process. It's like, again, we keep
Okay. So you would say that a woman who comes into your life and she cooks you dinner, she starts doing your laundry, she lays your clothes out for you, she gets your lunch ready for work in the morning. I mean, I'm talking about like whatever you need. I'm talking about even down to when you come home, she'll even sneak out to the driveway, look at the tank, run the car around the corner to the gas station and fill the tank up to make sure. So a woman who comes in home, let me just land it and just respond. I'm gonna give it to you, brother, I promise. So what you're saying is a woman who comes into your life and does things to enhance your peace is considered a burden or something? Is that what
I did not say that. I didn't say one way or the other. Your inner peace is your choice. It's your thing. Just like
you said that she's disrupting it by cooking and laying your clothes out.
I did not say that. I said instead of her trying to bring him peace, don't disrupt his peace. He already has it. He already has his peace. What you're talking about is
I got you. No. I respect your position and how, you know, I mean, listen. Everybody's different, bro. Everything don't work the same for everybody.
You're talking about systems, order, and structure. That's not inner peace. A man can have SOS and not have inner peace. We're talking about his inner peace. That's just the same thing me and Trigger talked about earlier. You can't make somebody else happy. That's up to them. They have to choose.
I don't think anything implied was making you happy or anything. All I said was, now remember, the very first thing I said is you already have all these things. You're already established in this. You do have peace.
No,
Inner, outer.
Maybe the real question is what does a woman bring to his life?
I'm saying those things have nothing to do with his inner peace. Those are separate things. Those are separate things. And a woman can't bring a man peace. Just don't interrupt his peace.
All right. No,
His
okay.
peace may be going outside shooting hoops by himself to clear his mind. That may be his inner peace moment. She can't do nothing to add to that. Nothing.
No disagreement there. I mean, like really, like, because I'm that type. Like I said earlier, like when I say I'm going to my office, literally don't do
I'm not
nothing.
just talking about inner peace, guys.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean
not just
that's
talking
what
about
I'm
inner peace.
saying
I'm
is
talking
real.
Keeping in a relationship.
Yes.
Keeping peace
Thank
in
you,
a
Grace.
relationship. And
Thank you,
a lot
Grace.
of women are moving. A lot of women don't even know how to keep peace in a relationship because they're so chaotic. And that's my goal here, V, is to show the women the 10 golden rules of how you can keep a relationship peaceful. So let me just finish up real quick, and then we can continue to argue in the back room. 1, women, be open-minded. Another way to embrace his peace and not be his headache is the ability to make decisions while remaining flexible enough to accept modifications and fresh updates from him. Access his ideas with an open mind. And again, if you don't agree with the change, discuss it with him politely instead of being combative, argumentative, and now we have a whole big fight and we up all night. Ain't nobody got time for that. Another one is trust him. You know how we can disrupt a man's peace by going through their phones. You know, trust is another key aspect of relationship. And don't be influenced, again, it says here, by your mama, your friends, your co-worker, especially social media, to suspect or wrongly accuse him. Instead, maintain your trust in him until he gives you reasons not to. Don't bother him, man. Don't bother him, a co-worker, a neighbor, or a friend. Insecurity is a huge home breaker for men. Insecurity, they will walk away, and especially if you're wrongfully accusing them. Remember, Gary, when you said about, I'll let you go through my phone, but after you go through my phone and you don't find anything, it's over. Remember that conversation, Gary, when we had that show?
Absolutely. Well, yeah.
Hold on, you said you'll let her go through your phone?
Yeah. Here's the thing.
You tripping, bro.
No. Hold on.
You never. Bro, it's not about if it's nothing in it. It's not about that.
Listen. The way.
Hold on. This is good.
Look, the way I work is first of all, for the woman that I'm dealing with, more times than not, she's gonna know my phone is off limits. That's just what it is. But if it ever came to a situation where she wanted to raise a big stink about it, I would say to her, like, look, if I let you go in my phone and you don't find what you think is there, get out of my house. I'm done with you. Right? So that's the context in that was done. Or that's the context in which that was said in. But initially, having a woman go through my phone, the women that I've dated, they know that's completely off limits. But like, as I said, if it ever came to a situation where if she was making a really big stink about it, about trying to find something that I know ain't there, and I would say to her, okay, I'll let you go in. But when you see, but if you see something if you don't find what's there, then we done.
All right, hold
Right?
on. Let me just help you out, Gary. Gary, real quick.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Yeah.
So
No,
when it comes to
My
trust,
bad.
so when we talk about trust, right? When we talk about trust, right? We supposed to have that trust. So if she feeling some kind of way and want to make a big stink, feeling that she can't trust me or whatever, and she want to see in my phone, and if I give her that opportunity to see what's there, and it shows that whatever she was feeling, there's nothing there, then I'm done. Because you not take, so clearly you didn't want to take my word. So now I show you, and there's nothing there. So now we're over. Because to me, there's like when you're in a relationship, there shouldn't be nothing to hide. You're supposed to have trust. Okay, I'm done.
Gary.
Yeah, I'm done.
That was beautiful, bro.
This is good tonight.
Listen, that is very dangerous. And the reason why that's dangerous because you got to get something, right? We've already recognized that women are never satisfied. Ever.
Not true.
Oh, and I listen, I totally understand that.
I gave it to you, Gary. I gave it to you, Gary.
All right, go ahead. Speak your piece.
My man. Leanne, hold tight, baby. I got you. You gonna get it in. Hold on, baby. Hold on now. We already know women are never satisfied, bro. Just from right there, one, first and foremost, you have to recognize something. When she try to hit you with that, oh, well, let me see in your phone. Little do you know, you think subconsciously, I'm going to go ahead and open the door of trust. No, what you did was you laid out the carpet of submission to her. You have no idea what you just did. When you give them that type of power to go ahead and say, all right, I want to look through your phone. And you're like, all right, fine. Here you go, babe. Ain't nothing going on.
But what he's saying is the relationship is over at that point.
I think you're misunderstanding me. I think you're misunderstanding me, but I get what you're saying.
Watch this. The relationship is over if you just any other dude. I'm telling you this from personal experience. When you really are somebody that they are genuinely intrigued about, bruh, it takes a whole lot to run them off. And I promise you, when you do the whole, you can't see in my phone, what you're missing through that whole temper tantrum that they throw out, bruh, little do you know, that's getting them wet. Because you add more to the mystique of yourself. Women are all about the mystery of men.
Oh, I get it. I get it. I get it.
So I'm going to tell you right now, one thing that I've damn sure learned in my 40 years to land it, y'all go ahead and take it away. The more mystery that you have, the longer she stays around. Because she always feels like it's something else I got to know about you. When you hand her that phone, you give her everything. And at that point, you're an open book. At that point, you're them shoes that she already worn to the party and spun it out in. Now you're going to get set back in the closet. I promise you.
But I listen,
it's dangerous.
I hear what you're saying, but I think you misunderstood, but I got it. I think, see, I
understood you said you handed the phone over to her and you let her look through it. That's all I needed to understand.
If she agreed that the relationship would be over.
See, again, you missed my point.
And you need to never be scared. You need to stand there at that moment. No, bump that. You need to stand there at that moment and let them know, I don't care if you walk away. Bro, you'd be surprised what the response would be sometimes. You got to stand on something.
Oh, of course. Listen,
you don't fold to that because she said, I'm going to go. She know that that's what you probably going to do. It's bend and fold because you're going to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to take this kitty away. You need to let her know that kitty can be replaced.
It's over.
Yeah, he's ending the relationship, not her.
Bro, listen. It was never, it was never a case where I just handed my phone over like that. I think what you're missing my point is, if it came to a point where I let her see if she's throwing a big stink, right, about something that is not there, and I've already told her, like, look, there's nothing there, nothing for you to worry about, you know, blah, 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 and she wants to keep pushing the issue and making a big stink. And for me, and if I said, well, okay, look, if I let you see that there's nothing there, understand, if there's not, if you don't see what you think is there, then we're done. It's over, right? So that's that.
You can't get it back anyway.
Listen, all right. That right there, that method, some dudes, okay. That method, yeah, I can understand what you're saying. Like, look, you got an option right now. If you look through it, excuse me, sorry about that. If you look through it, all right, you know, then we over. But my whole thing is, I'm gonna be real with you, bro. I don't know. I just kind of stand on, you're not looking through my phone, period. Matter of fact, you know the best that I would do if I watch this. If I was to do what you do, Gary, I would be like this. All right, bet. Hold on. Then let's do this. Let's trade phones. Give me yours. Go to your DMs.
Now you're being submissive.
No. Listen to no. You missing it, bro. What I'm saying is that you got to play the head game with them. Sometimes with women, you can't see. It's not about really wanting to. Whole time you don't give a shit about that. That's not really the goal. The goal is to get them to see through action how it looks when you ask them type of questions when you do that. So I bet you asking me that. Well, okay, can I see your phone? No, exactly.
I think the only issue I have.
That's all I'm saying.
Listen, okay, let's.
I'm trying to hear Grace. Go ahead, Grace.
Isn't it just easier to just have the hard conversation and be like, yo, who is this person that you're talking to or seems to be taking up a lot of your time? Why do I have to look through his phone? Should I not be comfortable enough to be like, hey, Smitty, I see that this number popping up a lot and you seem to be talking a lot with this person. What's the deal? Who are they to you? What's going on? Is that not okay?
I would have a problem.
Okay, Grace. But the thing is, that's okay, Grace. Briefly, V, go ahead and tap in because I'm gonna be real short. That's okay, Grace. The only thing is that once I tell you, that's just business. Or once I just go ahead and show you, like, look, no, I'm actually purchasing this, I'm doing that, blah, 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 blah. It just so happens to be a female that I'm doing this business transaction with, but all of this is legit. Because I'm just speaking for myself. I know me. The only other reason why I would be speaking to a woman of any form of fashion, if it's, like a nurse or some kind of a doctor's appointment, some kind of like business, whatever it is. And it just so happens to be a woman that I have to go through this business transaction with. Now, once I show you that, just like Gary said, then it's, I don't want to hear a whole bunch of lip after that. Okay, now I need you to fall back and give me my silence. That's when we get to the point of just let this man process some thoughts. That's all. That's all. Respect. Go ahead, V. Go ahead.
True was up.
I just think the only issue I have with that, and I think we're saying things that can work in tandem. Grace made a valid point. Smitty, you made a valid point. Gary even made a valid point. I think the issue I have personally with that is that if that's a boundary for you, and it sounds like it is for Gary, and it is definitely for me, if that is a boundary for that man, whoever that man is, then that man needs not compromise on that boundary. What you do is you're now showcasing to this woman that your boundaries are really not to be respected because you're willing to succumb to the pressure of her satisfaction. And 9 times out of 10, that satisfaction is houses insecurity. So if I'm doing my job correctly as the man, she should be very aware of my boundary. And if that's one of them, then under no circumstances should I have to trade a phone or now meet you at your emotional level, because if that was something that you were suffering with, I would hope that I can aid in your growth. A lot of times that's debris from history and things of that nature. If I'm giving you no reason not to trust my word through a multitude of showcasing my manhood, This should be no different. It's my boundary, sweetie. I don't care who you are. That's
Brother
just how-
True.
Right. Well, see, look, for the most part, I don't play that phone. I don't play that phone stuff. And Grace and I have spoken about that. You know, I don't play that phone stuff. I'm just saying, if it ever came to that point where if I don't already laid everything, you know what I'm doing, what I'm about and all that stuff. So there's no reason for, this crazy shit. But if it ever came to that point, right? If it ever came to that point and I give you this opportunity, but hey, look, you look in there and you don't see what you think is in there, then that's it. It's a wrap. We're done. There's nothing to talk about.
So Grace.
All right, guys, I'm down to one. Go ahead, V. Finish off.
What you asked. Let's say me
Okay,
and you together, right? And your phone rings.
Okay.
I ain't asking you shit. I don't care who you on the phone with, because I'm not worried about stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't
you got
see.
a whole conversation with a dude in front of me. You got a reason to be talking to him for whatever reason. We got bigger fish to fry. I ain't worried about them phone games. And
I agree. I totally agree with you about. Totally agree.
I'm gonna treat you the same way I want you to treat me. Don't ask me about my phone. Don't go through my pockets. Don't be going through my glove box in the car. None of that insecurity, as Truth pointed out. None of it.
Let me say this very last thing, Grace, before we go. I think most men would agree. The number one thing that we get on about that whole phone thing is, I don't care about that phone stuff. When you chilling with me, when we're having like our movie month, whatever it is, our date, stay off of it. I don't care if it's your girlfriend.
While we're watching the movie, I agree with you.
Yeah, right. Like when we're having our time, we ever like out on a camping trip, whatever. All of that, you need to like, oh yeah, girl, because no, hold on, I'm just texting my mother and look, I don't care if it's your mother. I don't care. Look, you need to tell them, leave me alone right now. This is our moment. You need to go incognito, put it on airplane, something. That's the only thing that I would say. That I would know most men would say yes. Just stay off your phone while we're engaging. Other than that, when we done, man, I don't care. Get on three-way, do what you do, FaceTime. I don't give a shit.
Okay, I have a scenario for you guys.
Okay, with that being said, one last golden rule is support him. If he wants to start something new, support him. If he's going through a difficult time in his life, be his peace by being helpful, by being a friend, not being a critic, and help him as much as you can by taking care of even some of the small bills, doing shit that's out of character, because we have to be there for our men, ladies, just like we expect them to be there for us. And that's where this bullshit ass self-entitlement, selfishness, and self-absorbent attitude is totally killing the game. And especially for the sisters. And then y'all want to call us weak or pick-me's or ninja lovers because we allow the man to have his peace. We allow him to go to his man cave. Well, I don't want to use the word allow. That sounds, we're okay with that. You know, I understand the importance of somebody coming home and decompressing, especially if you've had a tough day. So as women, we need to do better. The golden rules of peace is universal. Treat others the way you would want to be treated. The value of peace in for caring, respecting others, and tolerating. Denzel Washington says something that was really good. He says, a man settles where he finds his peace, not beauty, not money, not status, not anything but his peace. That's how important peace is for a man.
All right, so I'm just curious. I've got a friend who just legit went through this scenario.
So us women start to learn that more. If us women start to learn that more and respect that more and appreciate that more, then guys, I'm going to go around the room. we are going to go ahead and do our final thoughts.
Hey,
We are
Grace, I think
definitely
you're
way
lagging a
over our
little bit.
time
You didn't
limit,
hear
but that's
Leanne trying
okay.
to
I
cut in.
understand.
Leanne has
Sorry, what
something
did
that
she
she
say? I'm
wants to
sorry,
say.
Leanne.
I just had a quick
Go ahead,
question, but if you want
Leanne.
to
I'm
wrap it,
sorry,
it's
I didn't
totally
hear
fine.
you.
It's just an interesting,
No,
sorry,
no, go ahead. Ask the
interesting
question.
scenario
Go
that
ahead.
just came up in real life, and I want to get your guys' feedback. So I got a friend. She's known this man for 20 plus years, been married to him for 12.
Okay.
He provides, she does a little bit of work on the side. For all accounts, they have a great, happy home life. Everything works well together. He left and went to Bike Week, and she's home. No problem. Goes out with his guy friends, does this every year. She's at home, grabbed the iPad to do something. All of a sudden, his text messages come up on the iPad, and he's meeting a woman who is clearly an exotic dancer that he's had some kind of ongoing connection with for the last 6 years.
Wow.
Hadn't talked to her in like 4 or 5 years. And he proceeds through these text messages that are inadvertently coming through the iPad. She didn't look for it. She didn't dig for it. She literally was getting ready to use it, and they popped up in her face.
Yeah.
She printed out all the text messages, didn't say a word to him while he was gone. When he came back, she put it in a file. She said, "Hey, I got something I wanted you to look at." Handed it to him. He opened it up. His mouth fell open, and he's like, She packed up her shit, and she moved out. So, by all accounts, he was the kind of man that you guys have been talking about. And she was behaving as the kind of woman that you guys are talking about. And it still goes this way, because I hear a lot about the man's piece and, what the man needs to do when there's a confrontation. But you are supposed to be accountable to each other. And so how does this needs get met on the male side, but reciprocated for the woman as well?
I got an answer like I don't know what, but that's on the back chat. If you come to the back chat, I got a vicious answer for you.
I'll try to
I can't
answer.
say that right now. But I got a
I
vicious answer for you in a couple moments. Let Grace sign out. We can rock out.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna go around the room. Gary will be second to last to me. Final thoughts on don't be too long-winded, but just final thoughts on what we spoke about, the importance of peace. And V, I really do get what you're saying. If a man already has inner peace, there's nothing a woman can do. But I was really trying to grasp maintaining peace in a relationship, not somebody's inner peace. But go ahead, you're up first. Final thoughts and anything you want to add on to.
Well, great. So, just to respond to what you just said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think sometimes people try to fix things or tinker with things that ain't broke. It's working fine. Leave it alone. But great show tonight, and I really appreciate you allowing the conversation to flow organically. I think, some of us went long-winded. We all did at times, but it was great conversation. So, and I think
we're getting better,
It was good. It was a very good flow tonight. I mean, everybody was flowing together. I mean, that's what happens in conversation sometimes. So it was good. It was good conversation. I think we lost Trigger Mike early, didn't we? Or is Mike still here?
Well, he had to go because he's on the Lapeef network right now. Because I'm watching him right now. So the fact that he even came through, I'm honored. So which means I'm getting noticed. People are taking me seriously. And I'm pretty damn proud of myself.
Earlier, right?
I will. And you guys, I want to thank you guys too, because y'all are A1ers. Yes, Trigger Mike was big time here tonight, but y'all my A1ers. I'll take 3 A1ers over one big, you know what I'm saying? Because he came through, but that doesn't mean he's gonna come through every week like you guys do. Yeah. I mean, I just
follow those links that I sent. Those are good.
I will.
Yeah, those guys really help give you some of that background stuff you're asking for.
Okay, I will. True. Once again, I always hit you up at the last minute, but I do try to tag you when I do my preview videos. You just don't see them sometimes. I guess it's because we're in different time zones. But go ahead, give me final thoughts on the conversation and anything you feel you need to add to.
No, great show. I'm gonna definitely second what Israel said. I'm always just grateful to be a part of it and be on a panel with such like-minded, brilliant men as well as women. So I appreciate that. You may have to do a follow-up to this, Grace, because it seems like there's so many facets of trying to create peace, and Israel touched on the inner peace, and I definitely understood what you were saying. But great show. I'm ready for the next one.
I see that you're doing the dual streaming, right?
Yes. Yeah, I went ahead and tried that out, and so
that's awesome. I need you to show me that, because I did click on the little box, but I've never done it with anybody yet. So I need you to go over that with me. But that's awesome.
Me too, man, because I ain't even get that option.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's right at the top right corner, you know. So you just click it. But yeah, we could definitely figure that out. But yes, a great show. Leanne, I think she added an element to the panel, and I appreciate interacting with her. Grace, you said something earlier, and I want to unpack that. So maybe next show. You said, how does a woman who exemplifies masculinity learn how to operate in her femininity? And we never really got to really unpack it. We went different directions.
Right, we can make it a show. I'll bring it up as a topic.
We actually have that down as a show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We actually that's an upcoming show.
Okay, I'm definitely looking forward to that. But thank you for having me. You guys can find me on all major platforms. Gary, I got your request on Instagram, so thank you for that. And again, thank you.
Mitty, awesome tonight. What are your final thoughts?
Great show. It was lit. Let's get to the back chat so I can answer questions.
Okay, Leanne, what are your final thoughts?
Just great. I enjoyed the conversation. That's really what I'm here for. I don't have any agenda. I want to, hear what somebody has to say, but I want to be able to question it. I want to be able to clarify it. I want to be able to build on it. And I want to be able to bring all perspectives to the table, because I don't think any of these conversations are anywhere near as effective as they could be if we're not talking about how it feels on the other side of it.
Absolutely. In the end, thank you for coming, because you do bring smoke, and you provoke the conversations that me and Gary preach about. So, keep coming. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
I wanted to be here last week, but I was stuck on a plane for 9 hours.
Oh, I hear you.
It wasn't fun.
Gary, thank you. Once again, thank you for always showing up. You've really been there with me. Go ahead, your final thoughts, and where can we find you?
My final thoughts. I mean, obviously this was a great show. I think that, this is definitely needs a part 2. I think that also too, one of the things that were being talked about, I guess, was the alpha males and stuff like that. We actually did a show a couple of weeks ago on the 7 different types, 7 different personality types, alpha, sigma, gamma, zeta, all that. And I think that's a show that people need to go back and watch, because it plays into a lot of what we're doing, because this is everything that we're talking about is personalities, right? And we got to understand the personality types. But I think for this show here, it's important that we understand what peace is and how important peace is to a man. And it could work. Different things can work for different men, but at least have the understanding on how valuable and important peace is for a man. So you can catch me on Boardwalk Global Media, which I'm the CEO of. We're on You could find us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. The main show that we do is called The Real Discussion with Rock Logic. We come on Fridays from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. A big shout out to Leanne. Leanne has always been a great follower of our show and always been very vocal. So I had to bring her over here. So she's always wonderful. And I think that's about it. So Grace, turn it back over to you.
Okay. Well, guys,
I figured it out, y'all. How to share
saw it. I see it. I see you streaming.
So when you on your phone, you go to more, and you'll see it where it says share, and it's real easy to do. Just so everybody can start sharing like that, man. I'm glad Gary, y'all, Truth reminded me to do that.
All right. We'll do it next time. Definitely.
Yeah.
So with that being
Help
said,
spread her channel.
Thank you. I want to thank every one of you guys. Yes, it was a very good conversation. I'm going to have to learn that sometimes it is going to go over because I'm not going to shut something down just because, you know, I'm tight on time. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, ladies, look, we are all dealing with stress, inflation, jobs, kids, family, et cetera, but you have to take into consideration and take note that if your man is an asshole by nature, then any of the suggestions that I put out there is not going to help. You have to find a man who's deserving of your love before you do the things we discussed. If you naturally feel happy with him, then that is a sign that he is deserving of peace and your love. So take what I said and what everybody else said into consideration. Stop being so argumentative. Stop being so combative. If you want a man, you're going to have to jump on his bandwagon because the operation of orders, and it has been since the sense of time, the children belong to the women belong to the men, and the men belong to God. We come from a man. We're not equal to a man, and we will never be equal to a man. Feminism tricked us. We were lied to. And a lot of us are going to get left behind because we have this notion, I don't need a man. Okay, you don't need a man? Then that's why you're not going to have a man. You're going to buy a dog and die alone. So with that being said, guys, thank you for coming. If you liked what you heard and saw, definitely like, subscribe, and share. You can always support the channel. # Embrace the Grace 23. We'll see y'all next week. I will be in New York. Me and Gary will finally be meeting in person.
Right.
And he will be interviewing me for my 1-year anniversary on how Embrace the Grace came all about. So y'all will see me embracing New York and going back home. Okay. And y'all ladies out there, don't forget it's Father's Day. Let's show some love to our men in our lives and our fathers, because y'all got supported last month. Now this month is their turn. So y'all have a good night, and thank y'all for coming out. Thank you for y'all support. Bye, guys. And